What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the first live stream of the 2025-2026 NBA season. Today we're going to be streaming Media Day interviews, reacting to comments made by players, and of course Joe Cronin and Chauncey Billups. This stream is brought to you by Sleeper. Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring us this season. And yeah, let me just get a link set up. I'm not going to comment at all during these interviews. Maybe I'll slide in a comment or two. I don't know. But I just want to give you guys a good spot to hang out in the live chat, watch the interviews, all that good stuff. I hope we're not late. The link to the Blazers website for this was not working. So shout to Michael for sending me a link. And let's see if this works. If you guys have a working link, let me know. But yeah, this is the first time we've ever been doing this. Eric will not be joining. It's just me for today on a rainy Monday. The rain is here in the Pacific Northwest, so. Happy to be hanging out with you guys. We're just waiting on a link that works here. Anyway, what's going on, David? What's going on, Sam? What's going on, Daniel, Todd, Joshua, Polly, Austin, Josu, and Mute That Bozo was here ahead of time. What's up, guys? Hopefully you guys are having a good day. I can't believe the season's here. It always feels that way, right? Where, man, the offseason's finally over. It's like coming out of a dark, long winter where you have like 2 weeks, 3 weeks of excitement with the offseason, you know, with the NBA draft and then free agency. We got a little bit of a busier offseason with Dame returning mid-July with the news of the Blazers sale. But still happy to be beyond the month of the month of August and month of September. It's fun to make content, but it's always a grind. I love getting into covering games, post-game shows. We're going to have one after every game all season long. We're going to be doing some stuff over on Playback. We're going to be posting some content on a website that is still currently being built out. We're going to be doing more than ever, and I'm excited for it. Hopefully you guys are excited for the season like I am. Okay, let's see. Is this did we miss Dwayne Hankins' interview? All right, I guess we missed Dwayne Hankins' interview, so I don't really understand how the links are working here. I guess I just have to keep refreshing. Anyway, if any of you listen to Dwayne Hankins' interview, you can clue us in. Honestly, it's never really. I don't know. There's always interesting business questions, but he's not going to be able to say anything about the sale. It was interesting last year to hear about Trailblazers TV, but now that we've seen how that works, all right, there's nothing new there, I assume, unless I missed something. But we got Joe Cronin up next. It's always interesting to hear Joe talk about the upcoming season because he's kind of one of the guys that sets expectations, and of course expectations are a little bit different this year. So we'll see kind of what the tone is in terms of expectations and all that good stuff. They're not going to say the word playoffs, I don't believe. I don't think they're going to just come out and say, yeah, our goal is to make the playoffs. I think it's going to be kind of tempered, hedging their bets. But we'll see. We'll see. What are the things you're looking to hear about today? Other than expectations, I'm very interested to hear Chauncey speak about some of the changes he might be making this year. You know, he's not going to go fully into it. All right, here we go. We got Joe Cronin at the mic.
just getting really quality work in. As you know, we're still a young developing team, and these guys continue to put in the work. So we're excited tomorrow to roll the ball out and see what we got. A few injury updates. I think you're all caught up on Scoot Henderson, and we can get into that a little bit. Tore his hamstring last week in some scrimmages, just 5-on-5 open pickup games. Disappointing, of course. You never want to see a guy go down, but Scoot's resilient. We'll get through this. Hopefully won't miss too much time. Hamstrings are tricky. We gave a broad timeline on it. We said 4 to 8 weeks. I've been told, it could be as quick as 4. It could take as long as 10. And sometimes, if they're stubborn, he won't feel right for even longer than that. So we're just going to rest and rehab and really be diligent about getting him back. And we'll, of course, be smart with, the tempo we bring him back at. We're obviously thinking big picture with Scoot. Other injury things, Robert Williams, he had a good summer. He had surgery towards the end of last season. So all summer long, we've just been rehabbing hard, getting that strengthening back to where it needs to be, getting that balance in order. We've started to really ramp him up. We haven't cleared him for contact yet, but we're not too far away from that. My big thing is want to make sure he's in incredible shape before we put him out there on the court. Again, be smart, think big picture with Rob. Other than that, we're doing pretty good. Have a few guys with, some bumps and bruises, but other than that, we're pretty good to go. So happy to open it up. I'm sure you have many questions.
Joe, considering Scoot's injury, who else are you comfortable with playing point guard?
Yep.
So, we have some primary ball handlers still with Jrue Holiday, Blake Wesley, Caleb Love on a two-way. But one thing I really like about our roster is our versatility. We've got quite a few guys who are very good with the ball in their hands. Deni Avdija, Shaedon Sharpe, Toumani Camara is getting better and better with his functionality and his handles. So we're not overly concerned with it. Obviously, a player of Scoot's caliber, it's a hit. But I think talent-wise and skill set-wise throughout our roster, we'll be able to manage it while he's out.
How, considering just what a big year this could be for Scoot in terms of growth and evolution, I know you said it's disappointing, but can you contextualize that beyond, with the fact that he's missing training camp, he'll be a month or two behind schedule by the time he gets out there going into his third year. How concerned are you about what the setback could represent for him?
Yeah, I'm not concerned, just disappointed because he put in so much good work this offseason. He had a strong close to the previous season, especially that second half. So you just wanted to see him hit the ground running. The nice thing is he's been a part of everything we've done this summer. He'll still be a part of, all the new stuff we're implementing. He'll be right there learning it. So it's just getting the rust off, and that can be, a little clunky. It's funny, we dealt with this the previous 2 seasons. Anthony 2 seasons prior when he did his thumb first game. Shaedon shoulder first practice last year. So, you forget about those things because, they did get back in a timely manner, and the rust came off pretty quickly, and I expect the same with Scoot.
Joe's injury, is there any concern that he may eventually end up needing surgery?
Everything the doctors are telling me right now is no, he won't. It's just rest and rehab. Of course, if there's a setback, that changes things, but right now it's looking very strongly that it won't need surgery.
Joe, with the sale pending, Dwayne said when he was in here that he's gotten a chance to talk to Tom Dundon a little bit. Have you gotten a chance to talk to him, and what have those conversations been like? And then also, assuming the sale doesn't close, let's say before the trade deadline, is it still Jody and Bert that are signing off on whatever you're doing, or is Tom going to be involved in that kind of decision before the sale closes?
Yeah.
Yes, I've had the opportunity to meet with Tom a few times. Again, like Dwayne said, it's some early diligence, just get to know each other meetings, really positive interactions. Really like his mentality and what he's going to bring to the table, and I think he's going to be great for this franchise and this city. As far as how things will work until Tom officially takes over, it's pretty clear. Jody's the chair, she's the owner, she's the final decision maker until that actual transition happens, which we're forecasting sometime, next spring.
What do you want to see from Yong this season? And then do you have a plan for the two-way spot that you have open?
For Hansen, really it's just day-by-day improvement. And, you know, it's hard for a rookie in this league, especially a rookie who comes from international play, who hasn't played, you know, other than 4 summer league games for him. You know, he just doesn't have a lot of quality NBA reps yet. So it's more come in, build confidence, do your thing, get better and better day by day. You know, with him, he has external things that he has to work on as well. English language and these types of getting him acclimated to our system, understanding and learning what his teammates are capable of. And last season, where I think we still have a lot of growth left in us, and so I want to continue to see them develop. But because of last season, I thought we took a really nice step those last 41 games, where not just in wins and losses and functionality, but in our quality of play, establishing our style of play, establishing our identity. I thought we did a lot of those things where we became really defensive minded and understood that this is the way we need to play in order to win basketball games. So for us, I want to see us just continue to make those steps. You know, we've got big bets on over a handful of young guys. Those guys some have popped more than others. They all need to collectively keep improving. With that, continuing to implement the other veterans that we have. You know, we have Jrue Holiday, who is obviously a really good player that we need to infuse into this roster, and that we're hoping that'll be pretty seamless. Expecting a big year from Jerami Grant. Robert Williams, once he gets back, how do we acclimate them to our young and upcoming core?
Joe, building on your saying about Hansen's day-by-day development, do you anticipate he might spend some time on the remix as part of his, growth?
I don't know yet. His big picture development is the most important thing for us. If we're finding that he's not getting enough playing time or minutes with the Blazers roster, I'll be very open-minded to getting him to the remix and just getting him as many repetitions as possible. At this stage, I haven't thought about it a whole lot because I'm more focused on, okay, how can he help the Trailblazers? But we'll be mindful, even if it's a 2-week stretch where he's not getting a lot of minutes, maybe it's okay, go play for the remix for 2 or 3 games just to keep your conditioning up and also, like I said, get more repetitions. So it's a huge asset having a G League team, especially one here in Portland where we can bring him back and forth. We'll definitely be really focused on getting him as many reps as possible.
Joe, can you recount, was there a moment or a time where you kind of fell in love with Hansen, or that he really got on your radar?
Our scouts did a terrific job identifying him early, and they also did a terrific job of educating me on his game. So really it was that over the course of that 23-24 season, a season before he declared for the draft, where I would get, every time he played, I'd get a big video edit of Hansen and, of course, watch it. And we just, over time, really grew to appreciate his game. And that book of knowledge that we acquired, or, just having that sense of comfort watching him over and over and, doing all the background work we did, it made it easier to, take what some would call a reach at 16 on him. We just had the confidence that, hey, we know this guy's game, we trust his abilities, and we're excited about him.
Was there any one performance that stood out that really kind of sold you, though?
I mean, his play in the under-19s, where he's going up against high-end prospects and holding his own. Alex Sarr and some of those kids on the French team, he held his own in that game, and I thought that was really eye-opening. And then to go and have 2 more good quality CBA seasons after that, it just reaffirmed it more than anything. And then also going into the combine, I thought he did a really good job in the combine at those 5-on-5s. That's a hard environment to play in, especially as a big man. And you can see over the course of those 2 games the comfort level he had and his teammates had with him, because he's such a conductor. For him to be able, in such a short period of time with those guys, be able to start really fueling offense, I thought that was impressive.
Joe, you at the Dame press conference last time you talked to us, you said that it's winning time now for the Trailblazers, and moves that you've made, like bringing in Jrue, would kind of speak to that. Is that still kind of your approach going into the season? Is the goal the playoffs?
The goal is to compete every night. Do we want to make the play-in? Yes. Do we want to make the playoffs? Yes. Do we want to win 16 playoff games? Yes. I don't have expectations, and I won't be disappointed if those things don't happen, as long as we're continually growing. We're still thinking big picture with this roster, knowing that until our young guys are ready to help really fuel winning, we're not going to be good enough, and we're going to take that approach. But with that, we're confident in our abilities. We're confident in the additions we've made. We're expecting to be a quality team each and every night.
Joe, on that note, how do you sort of balance the understanding that you need your young guys to take the requisite jumps and adding two gentlemen in their middle 30s to the roster this offseason? Like, how do you square those two plans?
Yeah. Throughout our developmental plan, we've prioritized learning to play the right way. And to do that, we've chosen to put, it's probably not the right word, but guardrails on some of our guys, to where we're not just going to hand them the ball in 36 minutes and say, go nuts, figure it out. We want them to learn to play the right way, to earn what they get, to have accountability in their play. And we've chosen just that approach, with specifically Scoot and Shaedon. I think we've seen a lot of that where, when they're playing well, when they've earned their role, they've gotten the minutes and the ball. When they're not playing as well, when their decisions get a little shaky, Chauncey pulls them back a little bit. Some of it is to protect them. Some of that is just to develop them the way we think is best, which is, a hands-on approach. In time, we hope it solves itself. Like, we talk a lot about, you're going to earn everything you get. And in time, you hope that eventually those guys just go get the ball and then never give it back. And, with some of these guys, they're already there, a guy like Deni. With others, it's still going to take some time.
Joe, I was curious, did you give Dame any tips on how to be a good GM?
It's funny, Dame and I, throughout my career, we've always talked so much about basketball. I've always admired his willingness to learn about roster building, not just scouting and identifying talent, but, I've talked about this, how much time he and I have spoken about the importance of the salary cap and how it works and the creativity that can put you ahead, or, just the necessary function of it for building a, competent roster. So we talk a lot about basketball and basketball theory.
Mm-hmm. You brought up
Dame's a cap nerd like us.
Back to the Jrue addition. Just can you go into thinking of bringing him in and just the depth of what he might provide to the young roster?
Yeah. Obviously, still a really good basketball player who, just his versatility on both ends of the floor. Still a premier defender, very, very competent offensive player. So, just adding to the overall talent, we're excited about what Jrue's going to do. And, another thing we really liked about him, and this is where we're getting a little more directive in our roster building approach, is we love the fit with our other guys. Jrue's somebody who is great with the ball in his hands, but he also doesn't need the ball in his hands. So for us, that's a nice fit with guys who we think can do more with the ball in their hands. A guy like Deni, a guy like Shaedon, Scoot, of course. Jrue's a terrific complement to them in those regards, where, he can play on or off that ball. So,
What's your stance on extending Shaedon?
I never get too deep into any of these. I want to keep these private between, the player and us. I think, the way we're building this roster and the commitment level we have to all of our young guys, we're very open-minded to, if it makes sense for both them and us, we're very open-minded to, taking this out very long-term.
Joe, you mentioned the final 41 games and identity that kind of came with that. Deni was a big part of that. How much do you kind of look to empower him, and how much more opportunity do you almost overtask him just to see how far his game can go?
Yeah, I think, you know, just internally we're so excited about who he is, where he's headed. You know, it's going to be something we're going to ask a ton of him this year. You know, Deni's got a complicated game. You know, his abilities at 6'9" are rare, you know, and dribble, pass, shoot, guard, transition, you know, all the things that he brings. So, you know, with him, there'll be a little bit of guardrails as well. Like, we're still trying to shape him in or help him get to where he needs to be as a player. But with that comes empowerment, and I don't see why we won't, you know, continue to empower him like we did the second half of last season and, you know, push it to the limit and see what he's capable of.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Alrighty, so that was Joe Cronin speaking about this upcoming season. Shout out to Elias, $5 GG sticker. Thank you, Elias. Appreciate it. Few interesting things. I thought it was interesting how he was talking about Scoot's still going to be, you know, around. Of course, it's not a, you know, season-ending injury. He's going to be around and still a part of the changes that they're going to be making, which to me speaks to the offensive changes that Chauncey Billups said he wanted at the end of last year that he wanted to make. And of course, they brought in a whole new assistant coaching staff. I think you're going to see them try and make some legitimate offensive changes. And that's what Joe Cronin was referencing. Of course, we have to wait for Chauncey. I hope there's a follow-up question based on that Chauncey comment from April about what he plans on doing with his offense this year and how he feels like the assistant coaches fit into some of the changes he might be making. We'll have to wait and see. I think I have to like spam this refresh link to see if a new interview pops up, so I will keep doing that. Okay, we do have Chauncey. All right, we're a minute. I hate that I have to refresh the links. We're a minute in, so I'll start from the beginning and you guys can listen to Chauncey Billups.
One of the best defenders.
Brutal chat, brutal.
Really in this generation, you know. And
Damn.
what he's able to do, how he's able to play, it just makes those things even better, you know. So I'm really excited about where we are and what we're going to be able to do, in particular on the defensive end. The one area on the defensive end that we were really poor at is our defensive rebounding. That's going to be something that we have to be much better at. We'll focus on that right away, you know, because we play such great defense, and then boom, the shot goes up, and then we don't get the ball. I mean, you got to play another 14 seconds of defense. It just wears you down. So we'll look to try to close out those defensive possessions, hopefully with a rebound.
So basically, start of his interview. Here, I'll pause it for like 15 seconds. Start of his interview, he said he said Joe had a great acquisition period this offseason. He also basically admitted that the offense has never been a part of their identity. It hasn't been good enough since he's gotten there. So points for self-awareness is pretty much all he said when he was muted.
The defense that you guys bring.
The strengths of our defense. I think our physicality is one. Our pressure is going to be another one. And obviously, when you have Clingan at the rim, he's going to deter a lot of people. He's going to block a lot of shots. Also Robert Williams there, also Hansen. So, we want to be very disruptive defensively the entire time. And then if they do get by us, and when they do get by us, they have to deal with those guys. So I love, what we should be able to do on that end of the floor.
Chauncey, you added Splitter to your staff, and from what I saw and what I've heard, his game in Paris was an awful lot like what you want to do here. Can you talk about what he might bring to your staff?
Yeah, good question. Good question, Dwight. Yeah, I added Tiago Splitter to our staff. I studied him for a while. He did a really good job. I went over there to go see him, watch him kind of operate, watch his practice, watch his games. And I really do believe that, I just talked about, I thought us establishing our defensive identity last year was the biggest part of the season. I think this year we have to start establishing who we're going to be offensively. And a couple of my hires reflect that. Tiago and Patrick St. Andrews, who was in Memphis last year, and who was under Taylor Jenkins the last few years. What I want to do with our offense, those two guys have done it, So Tiago was great. His offense was really potent over there in Paris, and they played really fast. They got up and down. They tried to play before defenses got set. He had a really good point guard that kind of was the MVP of the league, obviously. So he's done a really good job, And so yeah, I'm really excited about that and about our staff, and we've worked really hard to try to put together what I think our offensive system is going to be.
Coach, guys, and sorry.
That's not my stream, that's this stream. That's lagging. Hello?
Right in it, Remember, we get.
I don't know. What's up, Mubsy? Can this, play smoothly, please? I don't know, chat. I don't know, chat. Anyway, if this doesn't play, we can try and listen to it back. We'll stream later tonight and break down more comments. We'll have Eric there, and Eric takes notes on these sort of things. But, yeah, this is not a me thing.
The league, obviously, so he's done a
smooth.
really good job,
And this is I don't know what, so
this year, and just kind of
there you go.
Just digging in.
Never mind.
Help those guys. He's not a coach. He's a player, and he's a great player still. And
I'll try refreshing, but don't really know what's going on here.
It's just another speed bump. In on school coach. He's a player, and he's a great player still. And all of the things, and I'm saying, Dame, you're Dame. You're okay. You're okay, bro. Just be you. Just be who you always are. They're gonna be looking for that direction, and so he'll find his way, as he's trying to get himself back healthy.
Chauncey, in light of the Scoot situation, just what was your reaction to his injury, and what direction do you?
Yeah, I just feel so bad for Scoot, man. Scoot was having an incredible summer. He really was. Certain things that we wanted to work on this summer, he's worked on them all. I couldn't wait for everybody to kind of see him. So it's really, I feel really, really poor for Scoot right now. But it's just another speed bump for him. I mean, he's had a few, you know, and he's really tough mentally. And he will get back and he'll be strong. But, man, I do, man. My heart really hurt, you know, for Scoot when he went down that day. And then to see what it's going to be. So it's tough for him, for us, you know, going forward. I mean, obviously having Jrue and having signed Blake Wesley and, you know, Deni's playmaking and ball handling, Shea as well, Caleb Love. I mean, we'll be okay. But, you know, the speed and aggressiveness and downhill and getting to the paint touches and things like that, we will miss that. You know, he's one of the best, and finally playing to his real superpower, you know, was it. So I just feel bad for Scoop.
So you guys did such a good job in establishing your identity as defense, and Roy Rogers was the head of that, yet he's not back. Why isn't he back, and who is heading the defense now?
Well, Nate is doing the defense. You know, I had Nate last year, and Roy did. Roy did a really good job for us, and Roy's a really good coach. And, you know, it's funny, I go through this thing, and, you know, it's tough to say this without people taking it crazy, but, you know, you get to a point in the rebuild where, you know, I said this along both sides of the ball. You know, we're pretty much doing arithmetic. We're doing it pretty good. And then you start to get to a point where I know I've gotten a ton better, you know, and I see this thing differently. I know what I need more of, but we need to start doing a little algebra. And so you got to bring in some algebra teachers. And that's no slight to nobody. It just kind of is what it is, and it's a part of me getting better.
But what does that mean?
Of me challenging our guys more. And it's just kind of, that's it, you know. But Roy's a really good coach. Roy, Coach Fleming, you know, all of those dudes, they're really good coaches. It was just time for me to do something different.
Back in July, you described how this year could be really important for Dame in terms of learning how to play with these guys by watching. What are the specific ways that you think that he will need to adjust to fit a year from now when he is back and healthy?
Well, one, you know, Dame for his entire time here, I mean, he's just such a great player. You just kind of played through him every play, and God bless you, played through him every play, and, you know, you had to. He's just that gifted. I think Dame knows this, and we all know this. He's going to need these guys to help him out, you know, and we're going to play faster. We're going to be moving and cutting in the half court, you know. So it's almost good that Dame's going to be able to watch that and see that all season long, you know, where he does fit in. Now, obviously, he is Dame, you know, so, and he's very focused on getting back to being who he is, you know, and we'll all benefit from that. But we're going to play, we'll play a lot different than we played before Dame left here.
Yeah, Chauncey, without Anthony, with Scoop being out at the start of the season, how much does that impede your goal of playing faster?
Yeah, that's a great question. That really is. I don't think that much. Because we're just going to have so many different guys kind of bringing the ball up the floor. It's not just one guy a lot of times. And even like with a guy like Jrue, you know, you playing fast is not just blazing the ball up the floor on the dribble. You know, a lot of times it's kick aheads. A lot of times it's where you catch the outlet. You know, just things like that. So it impacts it for sure, not having Scoot around. But we'll still play faster. You know, we just have to. You know, there's no reason to be young and athletic and versatile and play slow. There's just no reason to do it.
There was a lot of Will there be more grab and go? Like whoever gets the rebound just...
Yeah, we have that's the good thing about being versatile, you know, and having so many guys be able to kind of dribble up the floor and initiate the offense. And that's why our defensive rebound is such a big deal. You know, it really is. And whoever gets it, let's just get out and go and just kind of play. So we were so bad at it last year, and we were always just looking for Ant or that one guy, and we just have to be different.
There was a lot of discourse this summer on who the starters would be on this team. Obviously, Scoot will be back at some point. But it seems like there's kind of 7 guys for those 5 spots. So just what is your philosophy on what the starting lineup could look like coming into training camp?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways you could go. I say this to y'all and I say this to our guys. I'm not really the one that's deciding that. I'm really not. I'm just going to be the messenger in it. And they got to go earn it. Whoever earns it, whoever plays the best as a unit are going to be the starters, to me. We do have, I'm really happy to even have this discussion, to have the talent, to have the depth. This is new for me, so I'm really excited about that. But at the end of the day, I'm a fair coach, and I think that they all need to go and earn it. Like, we don't have like an all-star on this team or a top 75 guy that a Dame is not playing. Jrue probably will be a Hall of Famer, at some point. But we don't have that 1-2 guys. So to me, like, everybody just got to go earn it. And I've always been about that. I believe that's the best way to be. And so I'm really not making that decision, to be honest. These guys are.
Chauncey, you kind of alluded to the coaching changes. Defensively, you have this identity in being disruptive and wanting to protect the paint, but offensively, you're bringing in new coaches. Yeah. What do you expect your offensive identity to be? You guys have wanted to get out and run, but transition, you've lacked of efficiency. The shot location stuff changed a ton for you last year. You almost eliminated all the mid-range shots. Like, what do you kind of envision the identity of the offense being, and how different will that be compared to other teams you've had?
I think it'll be a ton different. I expect for us, again, to play faster, moving the ball up the floor. Not only that, even in the half court, some of the cutting patterns and things like that will be totally different. Not as much standing around, if you will, or just run the pick and roll and the other 3 guys just kind of standing and watching the entire time. We'll get away from those things. We'll be better about that, and just not being as predictable, I guess, if you will.
It's about time.
We have so many guys. Our best times, our best games last year, we had so many guys contributing, and 6 guys, 7 guys in double figures, and everybody just kind of sharing the basketball, sharing it. I want to be like that most nights. I want to be playing that way. I think those are the most difficult teams to play against. Where everybody's kind of live, everybody is involved, and everybody's in the action. Everybody feels, valued out there. So that's what we want to try to do.
View your center rotation. How does Hansen fit into that?
Yeah, I mean, he's right there in the mix. Obviously, DC, Rob, Hansen, DC, Hansen, Rob, Wap. I mean, we have 4 of them, and it just kind of depends on how they're all playing. If Rob is healthy, obviously he's not really ready to go right now. I think Hansen's did a really good job, these last couple months of just trying to get situated, trying to understand what we're doing. He's definitely gonna play.
Thank you, Coach. All right, Coach.
All right, so we might already have another interview live. We'll see. I'll refresh. But the offense, we got Dame up. His interview just started. I'll play it in like 15 seconds. But just quick thoughts. The offense, talking about moving players. I screamed about that all last season. It sounds like Chauncey listened to a lot of post-game shows or something, In all seriousness, that's something that will help their offense a lot. So preseason, start regular season, that's something that I think is the biggest inflection point for discussing the coaching of this team. Let's listen to Dame.
How are you on that?
Right now, I can do a lot of stuff. I've been running, I've been shooting. I think it's at the stage where I can do a lot, but it's tricky because you can. With this injury, what I've learned is you get to a point where you can, do a lot of these things, but the tendon is not, strong enough to stand up to it like it normally would be able to, like doing basketball activities. So it's a long period of like being stuck right here where you don't want to get carried away with what you think you could be doing because it feels good doing a lot of that stuff. You just got to kind of stay in the moment. So right now, that's just where it's at. I'm able to do a lot more activity, but still, building the strength up and, getting that tendon back to taking its normal shape.
I know you're taking this year, but is there any scenario that you could foresee, any scenario in the entire world, 1 seed going into the playoffs, anything where you would say, screw it, I'm playing?
I mean, I don't plan on it. I feel like if the team's a 1 seed going into the playoffs, then they probably got it. So I just want to be as healthy as I can possibly be and be 100% confident in it, and be able to do all of the movements and everything that it takes to be on the NBA court, and test out of everything that I need to test out of to make sure that I'm ready to go. And at that point, whenever that point is, obviously I'll have a decision to make.
What are you going to do during training camp? Like, are you going to be there? Like, what's your role at training camp for this team?
I mean, I'll be there early in the morning to get my stuff done. That's not team stuff like my rehab, and to try to get my training in, just so that I can get that out the way and then still be there or be able to watch and go through all the stuff that the team is going through, so I can know the offense, so I can know the defensive principles, I can just hear the language and everything that's being spoken over the team. And like Chauncey said, I guess I'm going to be like another assistant coach. But whatever I can be to the team at this point, that's what I'll be. But I'll definitely be there. I'll be around.
What's been the most difficult part of this process for you?
I would say, even when I've had injuries, when things have come up, I've always been able to do something about it. And I think this is the first time that it's an injury that, you can come back from, but you can't do anything about it. You got to let it take the time that it takes.
Dame, I know there's not much players usually have to say or can say about ownership, but I feel like this is a little bit of a different situation because you've been here for such a long time and you've been such a face of the organization. Have you had any kind of interactions with Tom, the incoming owner, or do you kind of have any thoughts on just the ownership change and just that part of the franchise right now?
I think it's been something that has been a discussion for some time, so I think everybody knew that it was to come at some point. I haven't had much interaction at all, but I'm sure there will be. And when it does, I'm sure I'll learn whatever I need to learn. But at this point, I've just been focused on getting reconnected and trying to get healthy.
Have you reached out to anybody who's had this injury in the past? Obviously, you saw it with Wes and all that, but just to the road ahead, and have they given you any advice about what's ahead?
Yeah, I spoke to KD. I spoke to Rudy Gay, DeJounte Murray. Who else? Wes. Me and Wes talked about it every day. Wes came and worked my camp in Arizona this summer, so every day we talked about it and went over stuff. My PT that I've used this whole time has done 40 or 50 Achilles repairs, so he's pretty comfortable with it, and he knows his stuff. So I've learned a lot. What not to do when things worked out best, and also I've every couple of weeks I've been going and seeing my surgeon to make sure everything is right and what the next step should be. So that's really been it. It's just making sure I'm listening and speaking to those people who've experienced it and people who, like my surgeon who've done these repairs over and over, and my PT who's been involved in a lot of these rehab processes as well. So that's really been it.
Consistent message that they've given you, like patience or something like that,
I would say the most consistent has just been that, don't try to be the guy that does it in record time, because it takes what it takes, and usually when people return to form is because when they do.
Dude, come on, man. Chauncey, I'm duly member for 34 months. As good as have Dame wearing that pinwheel again. Absolutely.
Do a lot.
It'd be good to get a stream that doesn't buffer.
And know that it's all the way around. That's one thing they all said that they all had in common.
And you had mentioned at the rally about Scoot and being part of his journey and what the way you feel like he can grow. And obviously, he's going to be out for a while. Have you thought about kind of maybe being with him or spending time with him as you guys are both rehabilitating, since you both kind of won't be able to do on-court stuff for a while?
Yeah, I mean, neither one of us gonna be on the court for a little opportunity for us. Was on the court, I'm gonna still be around, and it's breaks and stuff like that, and
Chat, this stream is ridiculous.
But
refresh.
As a young point guard, even more of an opportunity where we're gonna be around each other, doing this. I'm rehabbing and he's gonna be rehabbing and trying to get back to full health. But I'm not gonna be like all in his ear, like I just know everything. But it's a lot that I can share with him from experience. And as a young point guard, I know the desire. I've been there to want more for yourself and want to grow, want to prove yourself. I've been through all of those things. I know what it's like off the floor when you take some of that weight off his shoulders by just sharing information that I know is a fact. And it'll be a lot of opportunity to do that now to start the season.
Damian, your last season, when you were on the way out, you mentioned that the last year you were here, things were kind of in flux, and you didn't really kind of know where you're young. Obviously, you were further along in your career. Right now. Okay.
Can one of you in chat go to this link, trailblazers.com/now, and let me know if it's doing the same thing for you?
When I was traded, like a lot came back from me being traded. So like I was traded for Jrue, and now Jrue is also on the team. So I would say that a lot came back from that trade and all of the trades that took place. And also a couple years went by, and I think for a lot of the guys, like Shea was here my last year, he was a rookie. Matisse was here, Jerami was here. Can't think off the top of my head who else might have been here, but like I said, it's been a couple years, and I think the growth has taken place on the floor, where they had a few years to just be on the court and learn and figure it out and compete and get that experience. And I think that was just a great window of opportunity for that to happen, for that growth. And then now somebody like Jrue being added to the roster, then you add myself back to the roster, I think it puts the team right in that space where you're seeing a lot of the better teams in the league and the teams on the rise now. Is like they have a young core, a lot of young talent. They have depth, and it's some vets in there with experience that can get it done. And I look at this team as a team that's right, right in that space.
Tom Dundon and his group have said that they intend to keep the team in Portland, but until an arena deal gets done, there's going to be people who fear the worst. Why does this team matter so much to Portland, and why do you think it's important that the team does stay here for the rest of eternity?
I think the Trailblazers mean so much to Portland because it's the biggest show in town that the city is attached to. The passion that the fans have for the team, for the history of the team. it means a lot. You know, even my time here, when I wasn't on the team, the first 11 years that I was on the team, the connection that I've even built with the community has just meant a lot. You know, you see how far it goes when I'm in these places, when I'm at the Boys and Girls Club and when I'm at the schools, and that connection means a lot to them. You know, the Trailblazers mean a lot to them. So it's easy for me to see why, it's important, or it would be fear that the team wouldn't be here. And I'm someone who supports that. You know, I came back here because I wanted to not only play for the Trailblazers, but I wanted to be in Portland, and I understand the importance of that. So I'm with them. You know, hopefully that's the case.
There's a few NBA players who are doing the GM at college thing. Can you tell us about how that came to be for you, what you envision being able to actually do, especially now that you're not going to play this season? You know, Steph went to Davidson, put those guys through a workout. Do you see that in the future?
For me, this is something we've talked about, I would say, for maybe 2.5 years now. And it wasn't even like a thing yet. You know, I was talking to them about it just because I wanted to help the program. You know, I spent 4 years there, and, I want to see the program do well. And, they had been struggling a little bit, so I wanted to help out in some way. And, it became a conversation, and then it became official. And really something that I care about is just mentorship, and helping push the game in the right direction, and help a lot of these, younger athletes, high school, even in college, learn to do things the right way. And that's why I started my elite camp. Is more of a mentorship program of not only working with them on the court, but also off the court. And it would just be my goal to run a similar program through Weber State, where even the best players can go there. 4-star, 5-star players could go there, but what they would be getting by going through the program would be something, that can't be bought, and encourage better things for them as individuals, and just for the game of basketball. So that's really the goal that I have with, taking that role on at Weber.
There's going to be a scenario where you're like going to a high school game, calling the staff, listen, there's a sophomore, we got to get on him right now.
Yeah, I mean, I could. If I saw a sophomore that made me feel that way, I definitely could do it. So, yeah, I mean, it's possible.
Dame, what are your initial thoughts and impressions of Hansen from having watched him at Summer League and then whatever time you've been able to be around him this summer?
I think he can really play. I think the first thing that stuck out to me was like his feel for the game. He just knows how to play. He knows the right pass to make. When he gets the ball in the paint, it's like he knows how to find that space to get a quality shot off. He's physical. And I like his personality. His personality off the floor. You can tell he has personality on the floor. And to me, that just shows, he has confidence. And that's something that he's going to need, coming to America, having to, learn English, and then having to, play in the best league in the world. That's something that you're going to need, and I think he's going to need that. So, when I saw him, those things stood out to me.
And Dame, so as much as an injury is a physical issue, it affects your head game too, between the ears. And so coming back to Portland at such a consequential time, like, what are you doing around Portland to fill your cup? Like, is it nice being home? What are you doing to, take care of your head as long as you're with your injuries too?
My head has been great. I think one thing that people here know about me is that I'm stubborn. I don't. Some people may have a concern about it, but I'm honestly not concerned. I know that I'm willing to take the ride that I need to take to get back healthy, and I will. And once I do, and we revisit the conversation, people are gonna be like, they'll believe me, and I'll get healthy, and I'll be right. And that's just the bottom line for me. In my head, I have days where I get, you know, frustrated that I just can't go out there and do a basketball workout, but I don't get discouraged, you know, about it. It is what it is. It'll be another chapter that gives me the opportunity to show people that, you know, this is not a talent or none of that. You know, it's internal. You know, I have something in me that I just don't think everybody has, and I'll show that once again. And you know, as far as the other stuff, you know, I just see it also as an opportunity to not have to be so, you know, high strung about, you know, winning a game or all of those things. Like, I can be invested in the team and do everything I need to do. But it's also a time for me to, you know, be in the community. You know, with my Respect program, we, you know, reconnected with a few of the schools, and we might add, you know, a few middle schools, because there's a lot of things taking place in middle schools and single-parent households and underserved communities here as well. So I'll be, you know, taking a lot more opportunities to, you know, pick up some of those things that, you know, I still continue when I wasn't here, but now that I'm back living here, I'll be able to be more present in them. So a lot more of those programs that I've always done, I'll be probably doing a little bit more with those, and then also a few other things that, you know, I've been planning for a few years now that'll, you know, have a major impact on, you know, the Portland community.
Thank you all. I'm over time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dame.
Oh, it's good to have Dame back, especially, you know, in the community. He does a lot of great work. It's cool to hear him talk about the work that he's going to pick back up here in the Portland area, man. You got to love it. So shout out to him. Excited to have him back. Excited to have him around the team. I'm not sure who's next, but we'll get the next stream rolling. But man, it feels so normal just to listen to Dame speak on a media day. You know what I mean? But if you told me this was happening today, months ago, I would have said you're crazy. So it's funny how things work out. Anyway, shout out to Smog, member for 56 months. That's a long time. We got to come up with some new badges for you longtime channel members. It says the Clingan Yong rotation will be so fun. Yeah, I mean, maybe we get that opening night if Robert Williams can't play, because this dude is always dealing with something, unfortunately. And he's not cleared for contact. That was something that Joe Cronin said that I did not get to. Like I said, we're going to stream later tonight and break down all these comments on Blazers Uprise Live at 9:30. I'm refreshing the stream. We'll get the next stream to you as soon as possible. You're behind the stream. Yeah, that's because I have to refresh the link to get the stream rolling, and then normally it's like not synced, so I just want to make sure you guys can hear the whole thing. They should just have it on one stream, but I guess that's what I'm for. All right, we got Deni Avdija, the next interview. Oh, unmute it. Okay, we can't hear it. That's a... Is that a Blazers stream issue? Hello?
Stressful situations, kind of like win or go home type of tournament. So I feel like performing under pressure, taking care of the ball, and just creating off the dribble, going left. So yeah, that's about it.
Going left, a new thing?
I mean, not a new thing. I try to do it more, though.
What excites you most about this team?
Defensively. Definitely how versatile we are defensively. Wait, who asked that question? Okay, I couldn't see. Sorry. Defensively, how competitive we can be, how young, athletic, fast we are. I think our game style is going to be very fun to watch. And yeah, we have good competitors with good mix of vets, and I'm really excited with this team.
Could you elaborate on the defense? What do you like about the makeup of the defense that you guys can bring?
Just the versatility, as I said, being able to switch multiple positions, being able to have big bodies on the floor, rebounding, crash into offensive glass. Just, I think it's just a big part of what we're going to do, and it's going to give teams a lot of trouble.
And what do you see as your role on this team?
My role in this team is continue where I kind of left off, being vocal with everyone, be a leader, help everybody be in the best positions possible, and maximize the team potential. Just compete, do what I do, be aggressive, set the tone defensively, offensively. That's about it.
Oh, sorry. Deni, that second half of the season, you kind of had the big outbreak, and Joe mentioned that he wants to empower you further, almost kind of push you beyond what you can do. When you look at that, what are the things that you're kind of looking at expanding on, and the responsibilities you can possibly take on beyond what you've already shown?
So I'm going to say that I got still a lot of things to work on and add to my game. I don't think I'm a finished product yet. I do want to add a lot of stuff to my game, but I'm doing it with a lot of patience. I'm not rushing. I'm always trying to make the right play, whether it's defensively, offensively. But I think the next step for me is take care of the ball a little bit better, control the game a little bit better, slow down sometimes when I need to. And other than that, I think I'm in a good path.
Deni, what gives you confidence, or why are you confident that you won't have sort of the learning curve that you had last year, and just sort of the adjustment to figuring out how it all works?
I'm sorry, can you repeat it?
You know, like last year was, you kind of had an adjustment period with this team. Why do you feel like you won't have that this season?
I think because I've been here for a year now, I know all the people around the team. I know the players. I know coach and how he wants to play. I know the system. It takes a lot of pressure out of you. You still got to adjust here and there for little tweaks, but in general, I kind of know what's the philosophy behind our team. And as I said, I'm trying to pick up where I left off last year.
That said, Coach mentioned maybe a tweak to the offense, more movement, less pick and roll stuff. Have you seen that as you guys have kind of been getting going?
I've seen glimpses of it, but I think it's great. I mean, I trust our coaching staff to put us in the best way possible, you know. And for me, like, I feel like I'm a really good driver, and you know, the new offense with the new spacing is really helps our players to drive, so I can have a lot of benefit from it, and the players too.
I don't know how much you've been able to play with Jrue, but just what have you seen out of him, and what do you think he brings to you guys?
First of all, I've seen a great human being, like getting to know him, talking to him, like somebody who wants to win, who wants to be here, who won things in the past, and you know, there's a lot to the great potential. And you know, there's a lot to the great potential.
Your ability to create.
Back to the skips and the lags. I do think it's interesting him talking about taking care of the ball and being a little bit more patient, kind of more
he's a
point
really big
guard
creator
oriented,
for us.
because they might need him to play some point guard. Man, this stream is really annoying me. Did anybody go check this link? Is it the link? Because I don't think this is on my end. We don't have issues like this with internet, so don't really know what's going on.
Your ability to create.
Refresh the stream here.
To do.
All right, I will pause it. Because we're not getting anything. It's not me lagging, right? I mean, I shouldn't be, but how come the stream is so slow on the player that is called Turbo? Deni's too fast for this stream, man. I don't know. When he says new offense, what is he referring to? Are we rolling out a new offensive scheme? Yeah, that was to be expected based on Chauncey's comments in exit interview last year. I'm just going to pause and then try and get to the part that's smooth. It's on the link. Okay, cool. I mean, that sucks, but also I'm happy that it's not my fault or my internet's fault. I'll mute the desktop audio until it's smooth because like we can't hear anything. But like I said, we'll break down stuff later tonight. So some of these comments we might have missed, we will be able to break down. But yeah, so expect some point guard by committee. That was kind of a theme in talking about the Scoot injury. They're bringing up Blake Wesley. I don't think he's going to play. They're bringing up Caleb Love. I don't think he's going to factor in at all, or at least he shouldn't if this team's trying to seriously win games. To start the season without Scoot, it's going to be more point guard by committee, more motion, less relying on, pick and roll, isolation. And you have to have a bit of a motion offense if you're going to do point guard by committee anyway. So I would expect those changes this year.
To know him and see what he can.
We're smooth again, I think. They're asking about Dame, his experience.
I've seen Dame here and there, more in the weight room. He's not really practicing. But, I had a little bit of conversations with him. Great dude. I'm happy he's back in Portland. I know how much this team means to him, how much this city means to him. And, his dream, my dream, I want to give this city a championship as much as he does. So I can't wait to work together with him on the court and get this dream come true.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Nick.
All right, that's the end of the review anyway. Yes, sir. Let's make that dream come true, man. I love it. I love it. All right, your guys' thoughts on Deni? Let me know. Deni calling a championship? I mean, you got to have the attitude, we're trying to win it all. Set your sights high. I wouldn't want a player to come into the season like, yeah, we're hopefully we can achieve the dream of being a 10 seed so we get a play-in game on the road. Shout out to the dog out there on the street. All right. So once this interview goes live, we'll roll there. I just want to give a quick shout out to Sleeper. Oh, we don't have Eric here. So it's just me. He's not here to grade my parlays. Later tonight, I'll talk about some parlays I did yesterday. I had a 5-leg parlay to win $400 that I lost on the final leg because I made a dumb pick on the final leg, man. It was brutal way to lose a parlay, but it was fun. It was like $10 to win $430, and if I was just smart, that money would be in my hand right now. So if you want to be smart on Sleeper, smarter than I am, you can use code Uprise, get a 100% match up to $100. We're going to be doing some fun NBA stuff with Sleeper this year, so I'm really looking forward to it. But right now we got football. And baseball. Shout out to my Mariners. Shout out to your team if they are in the playoffs. Shout out to Sleeper. Use promo code Uprise. All right, let's see if we can get a fresh link here. Nope, we are still waiting. Jrue, Shea, Deni 2, and Clingan as Deni as the... With Deni as the point is a big lineup. It is a big lineup. I would like to see some Deni, Jerami, Toumani, Shaedon, Clingan. Or actually, Rob Will. I'm trying to think of in that rotation, you can switch Rob Will, you could switch Deni, Toumani, Jerami. So that's 4 switchable guys. There's really not a fifth to add to that lineup that would be switchable with them that should be playing legitimate minutes. Mason Warner, that's rough, bro. Yeah, I had Matthew Golden under 46.5 yards. So that deep ball that was to Wicks that he stole screwed me. All right. If you guys are wondering what I'm doing off to the side, I'm doing work while I stream. Multitasking. But let me know a quote or something you've heard so far this media day that you've found interesting in the live chat. We can discuss it as we wait for the next stream. But I think the biggest theme is, it's stuff we already knew. They're a defensive-minded team. That's their identity. They're going to get after it on the defensive side of the ball. It's about how their offense needs to be reimagined. Their offense needs more movement in the half court especially, and they're going to try to play even faster because while they've said they wanted to play fast, they didn't really achieve it, and it wasn't really efficient last year. I feel like Anthony Simons had some struggles there, so they move off him. But also, something I didn't talk about was when Cronin was talking about picking up Jrue, basically he said he liked that he could play on or off the ball, and essentially implied what I've been saying is that they trade their number one option in Anthony Simons and get back a guy in Jrue Holiday who doesn't need to be the number one option. He's a more defensive-minded guy, can play with the ball in his hands, but can also play off the ball, and basically creates a void in a good way, a void at the top of the offense. Somebody can step up and lead the offense. Now, it's not that simple because the offense should be a bit of a committee. It's not like you're going to put the ball in somebody's hands 75% of the possessions and just let them do whatever. This is not the prime Dame offense under Terry Stotts, but it'll be good to have basically a void up top for Deni or Shaedon Sharpe or whoever to grow into offensively and kind of take over the reins as the number one guy. Anyway, okay, now it's all one stream? Okay, now it's all one stream. The players are all one stream. Okay, so we can just... So I can just sit here and wait for it to start. Okay. That's cool. Just wish it wasn't lagging. My guess is Shaedon will be next. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. They had the lineup, or Chauncey had the comments. Basically, he's not set on a starting lineup. Whoever's playing better, whatever lineup's better is going to be the starting lineup. Whatever lineup's better together. Does that mean that Jerami Grant is going to be the fifth starter because that lineup looked really good last year and Chauncey's going to take that into account? I don't know. I would rather start Sharpe because I think it makes more sense to put your eggs in the basket of him maximizing his upside as much as possible and getting the most out of him because you're going to need that offensively, especially if you're going to be in a playoff series this year. You're going to need somebody that can create at a high level when possessions break down beyond just Deni Avdija. So the hope is that that's Shaedon Sharpe. It's not going to be Jerami Grant. So I think even if the Jerami Grant lineup is better performing because it's better defensively and you got a lot of length, I still would start Shaedon Sharpe instead and just hope that the benefits long-term outweigh the short-term benefits maybe of starting Jerami Grant. And I don't even know if there is short-term benefits to starting Jerami Grant. I don't even believe that, but I think that's the case that would be made for that starting five. Well, we got some audio, and now it's gone. Toumani.
How we doing?
Toumani with the fresh hair.
Hi, Toumani.
What up, how we doing?
Yeah,
they were really
This man has so much aura.
Toumani, I know since you didn't play Eurobasket this summer, kind of what did your summer look like? You know, what you work on? Do you stay here most of the summer? You go back home at all? What do you do?
It was very busy. I was able to really work on my game. I think it's one of the first summer, especially as a pro, when I'm fully healthy and I don't have all the pre-draft and stuff to worry about. So I was really able to focus on all the aspect of my game, whether it's offensively getting better, finishing at the rim, better passing, better decision making, keep improving my shooting as well. And then defensively also, watch more film. How can I get better in that aspect? Being smarter, committing less fouls, and yeah, just being a more mature basketball player. I think that's what I was able to do this summer.
Toumani, so much has been made about the defensive identity and culture of this team. How have you been trying to continue that culture and those principles during off-season workouts with your teammates?
It's been consistent. Never really let down that aspect. I think that's what got me where I'm at today. So I think it's something that I need to keep with me my whole life, my whole career. So just being able to help this program with, we have Jrue now, we have DC that's evolving at a great pace. And school defense is improving, Shaedon defense is improving, everybody's defense is improving. So I'm really excited and then we have Tease, we have JG also. So it's like, I feel like all that defensively is huge. And what we're going to be able to do, switch a lot of position and stuff like that. I think it's just coming into the gym with the same mentality every day and knowing that's who we are, and that's where we can have a big impact on almost on every game against anybody. So being able to exploit that as best as we can.
Speaking of Jrue, obviously he's a well-rounded player. What kind of conversation do you have with him so far, and what do you want to learn from just being around with him?
I think it's been great with Jrue. It's been very natural. We've been able to talk about everything and nothing at the same time. Very welcoming person. I think he wants us to get better. The way he communicates with me, especially on the court, especially during while we play and stuff like that, really trying to explain to me small things here and there, even offensively. It's not straight defense. Just his knowledge. He's a veteran. He's been doing this for a lot of years, won twice. So being able to pass down this knowledge that he has to all the young players out here, I think is crucial for us, and he's been doing great all summer. So, no, I'm super excited to get on the court with him for sure.
Anybody here particularly looking for to take a step up with Scoot being out?
Can you say that again, please?
Anybody you were looking at to take a really big step up with Scoot being out for a couple of weeks?
I think everybody. I feel like the team that we have can be very interchangeable, can have so many different lineups. So I think it's just, Scoot can have such big impact on our team. So I think it's him being out we're just gonna have to figure out something to bring his speed to the game that he's not bringing if he's not with us, and his leadership also. I think it's all that things that Jrue can help with. Even Dame can help with just by talking to us on the sideline. And I feel like, just pushing the ball. I feel like this year everybody's a little bit more confident, and we trust a little bit more our roles and what we can do individually. So I think no matter who's out, I think we're going to be able to hold our own, but it definitely hurt us to not have Scoot for sure.
Toumani, what are your first impressions of Hansen?
Very excited. His knowledge to basketball, he's very smart, very happy kid, happy man, my fault. He's a young man, my fault. But it's been great. It's been great. His development been very awesome to see. He's getting better by the day, and I think his touch and his feeling for the game is just very natural for him, and it's nice to see.
Have you guys been sharing some time on the court yet?
Yeah. So during the summer we played a ton. I think that was the biggest emphasis that Chauncey had for us, is he just wanted us to play because we were a very young team. So he just wanted us to go out there and make mistakes, and being with Hansen, seeing how selfless he is. He doesn't really care if he scores or not. He's going to try hard a lot, but it's an adjustment for him for sure. But no, he's been doing great, man. So, yeah.
You made the second team all defense, and it's something you've kind of prided yourself on, is working towards that. Not that it gives you kind of a green light to go away from that, but do you feel like you're confident enough now defensively where you want to try to expand your offensive game a little bit more to try to complement that?
For sure. I think everything was step by step for me. I was drafted 52nd, got traded within a month. So it was really hard for me to find my identity at first, and then I think I was giving a lot of free space defensively, and I think that's just where I wanted to take off, and that's what got me here today. And like you said, I feel like I can't really be stuck on just being a defensive player. I feel like I always knew how to play offense at a high level. It's just I'm out of position. I mean, my whole career in high school and in college, I was a 5-man, so it's a lot of adjustment to that. Being able to learn how to even dribble the ball. I had to go back to fundamentals, how to properly dribble the ball, how to properly run to space and stuff like that. So it was a lot of things that I had to learn the past 2 years that was just out of norm for me. And I'm very excited what I'm gonna be able to show this year, and I feel like my offensive game is improving every time.
Have you or your reps talked to Joe about a contract extension?
I leave that to my agent. I'm really more focused on basketball. It's only my 3rd year. I'm still trying to kind of understand this business side of the sport. But no, it's more just try to focus on basketball. How can I get better on that aspect, and everything gonna work itself out. So.
They've had discussions?
I think it's a possibility. Like I said, I'm trying to kind of stay away from that right now. I'm trying to really not preoccupy myself. Like, if I take care of my business on the court, I think everything gonna go well outside of it.
Toumani, just in general, obviously when you get your award for defense, Donovan Clingan moving into starting role, Jrue Holiday, a elite defender. I think Deni even has like a lot of possibility on that side as well. Have you thought about kind of the potential for this team as a defensive unit and what that might be?
I think the sky's the limit, really. I think we have so many tools that we can use in different ways, so many different lineups that we can do to mess teams up. So, I'm very excited what we can do on that end of the floor for sure. Everybody got the energy and the everybody want to play defense. Everybody know that that's our identity. So I think it helps even more. Like, nobody has to fake it, nobody has to force it. So I think it's becoming really natural for us to pick up full court and just be ourselves and play hard out there.
Any other questions for Toumani?
How hard was it to change your hairstyle?
Man, it was tough. It was tough, but I think it was time though. I wanted to grow the sides. That's really why I cut it off. I didn't really like just having the top going, but yeah, it was just I think a little refreshing thing that I had to do. Kind of also moving on. It's the 3rd year. I want to lock in, and I feel like it's a good mindset where I just cut my hair and I don't really worry about getting a haircut for the next 4 months. And I can just lock in on what I want to do. So yeah, that was good.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, too.
All right, so that was Toumani. Toumani with the fresh hair. I think it's interesting how he basically played as a big his whole career. He was talking about, improving his finishing. I think one of the things he struggled with at times is like trying to finish on the move and trying to like contort and finish around bigs. Just the touch and body control wasn't all the way there. So I hope that that's something he worked on, how to, body control, being able to extend different angles and finish off the glass. His rookie year especially, we saw some wild layups out of him, just trying to do that and not really knowing how to. But him saying this is his first off season, really being able to sit down and grind and work his game, makes me excited for what he could potentially be offensively. We've seen some flashes of playmaking and putting the ball on the floor a little bit, and that's never going to be the strong suit of his game, more likely than not. But if that can just be a wrinkle with everything he brings defensively, that'll just make the offense hard to guard and will fit in with the motion that the Blazers are supposedly going to try and run this year. I do hope that Scoot Henderson talks at Media Day. Of course, dealing with that injury. It seems like they're going the more prominent players first. So I would expect Jrue or Sharpe next. Because you had Dame, Deni, Toumani. So yeah, Jrue, Sharpe, Scoot, one of those three, I'm guessing. Anyway, chat, what's going on? How's your Monday morning? Where are you watching from? Are you guys working? Are you guys just hanging out at home? Let me know. Backup default says Clingan and Yong at the same time on court would be very interesting. I think it'd be very interesting because it'd be whoever has to defend the perimeter defensively would be a bit of a disaster. And both those guys are theoretical shooters, but not legitimate three-point shooters at the NBA level yet. I don't like the fit. Overcast in Central Oregon. Yeah, man, it's been a minute since we've had an overcast day, and I'm already not liking it. I'm already not a fan of it. Bring back the sun. I'm not ready for summer to be done. This is the only thing that like gets me through summer ending is the Blazers being here and like football being here. But, you know, now it's getting dark at 7 p.m. again instead of 9. Hopefully they don't have daylight savings time in November. I know that was a thing. I would not like it to get darker an hour sooner. It sucks when it starts getting dark at 5 p.m. in the Northwest. Not looking forward to that. The good news is, let's look at the weather. This is what we get to do while we wait for the next interview. Let's look at the weather. We got rain today, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then sunny Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So at least it's not permanent yet. Connor says, I wish we could get rid of daylight savings. So would you want it to be like getting darker an hour earlier and lighter an hour earlier permanently, or would you rather it be darker an hour later? Because I think an hour later, isn't that permanent daylight savings time? I would rather it be the later time. Yeah, the summer schedule. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Doesn't matter, I hate changing my sleep schedule. Yeah, maybe I should just start waking up at 8 a.m. instead of 9 a.m. Here's the thing, though, man. I can't be like a... Sorry, one second. I don't remember what I was saying. Deni plus Shea under/over 44 points per game. I would take the under on that. I would say 38 to 39. Anyway, my goal this year is to get those of you who don't talk in chat to start talking in chat. All right? That's a big 2025, 2026 goal. We got 158 people in here. Shout out to those of you who are commenting in chat. But some of you lurkers out there, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for tuning into the show. But it's always cool to hear from you as well. And we get to hear from Scoot.
So Scoot, just first off, the injury, kind of your thoughts on it, disappointment. I mean, everyone's been talking about how hard you're working in the off season. So just kind of where your head is at after kind of that unfortunate news.
I'm feeling good. My head is where it always is, controlling what I can. Obviously, you know, it's a little minor setback, but things like this, you come back stronger than ever. So, you know, it's obviously tough for when you go through the off season and working really hard, and then freak weird accidents happen. But I'm just blessed it could be worse than it is. So,
Scoot, what was it like this summer, doing those workouts and those runs with Jrue, knowing that you're going to play with him?
Oh yeah, that was fun. That was fun. Just getting used to my teammate. You know, just getting used to my teammate playing along, playing against him. You know, obviously one of the most premier defenders that the game has ever seen. So, for him to pull up on us in LA and you know, for us to get some work together and against each other was fun.
Through no fault of your own at all, but you were kind of the impetus that started the Damian trade. So just what has it been like for you now that he's back?
Hey, Rip City got what they want, man. So I'm happy that Dame's back, and you know he's back at the crib. Just some veteran, you know, togetherness with Dan coming back and also Jrue. I'm just ready for the season.
What is it like for you to just have actual veteran point guards on your team? Because you haven't really had that as much in your career.
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, it's cool that, you know, I've been able to be blessed in the position that I was in my first year, my second year, and then now that I have Dame and Jrue. Looking back, just Anthony and Malcolm, you know, those guys were amazing to me. And, you know, they taught me a few things here and there, but to actually have some veteran and really experienced guys like Dame and Jrue, man, it's going to be fun. I feel like it's going to be fun to play along, play with them at practice and all that.
Is there anything specific you worked on for your own game this season or this summer?
Yeah, definitely worked on a whole bunch of things, but the more detail you can work on something, you know, the better you get at it. So I've been working on just shooting off the catch and shoots, off the dribble, you know, a lot of just my pickups, staying solid within that follow through. I think that was my biggest thing this past off season, and also just make sure my body's getting rest, make sure it's getting recovery. Really focusing on that and focusing on that this upcoming season. You know, hopefully just a big role. So.
Sideline the next month or so, what will you be able to do, and what's your mindset, you know, opening the season in this position?
I'll be able to watch. That's always a great thing to do, to be able to watch, see how I can be implemented into the offense, you know, with the things that we have going on here with the Blazers. It's going to be fun to watch, and, you know, just knowing that if I was out there, you know, I could control something. And that's going to be a little hard for me because I love the game of basketball. I love to play and be out there with my teammates out there grinding. But being able to watch is also a blessing in disguise.
If you look back to yourself this time last year, what do you think you grow as a person and stepping into your third year of the career? What are some of the expectations that you set up for yourself?
I feel like looking back last year, I just matured a lot through the off season. You know, usually I just work and things like that, but you know, and then put my body last. And I feel like this off season and season ahead of me, I'll be doing that on a daily basis, just taking care of my body and things like that. Not just because of the accident and things like that, but just knowing that you got one body. And I knew that, but I think just taking that into action, and I feel like I matured in that area a lot.
Is this the most serious injury you've had?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, all injuries are pretty serious, but I feel like this is probably the most, I guess.
Can you take us through what happened when you injured your hamstring? Joe mentioned it happened during a scrimmage.
Yeah, it was during the scrimmage, misstep. It was nothing really crazy in the video. I just kind of just went for a little loose ball. Wasn't too far. I think I just extended too far, but.
Do you have a goal in mind when you'd like to be back on the court, or is it just sort of a matter of seeing how the hamstring responds?
Sorry, one more time?
Do you have a goal in mind when you'd like to be back, or is it just seeing how it responds?
Man, it's week to week for me. Just seeing how it responds, with the amazing team, PT team that we have with the Blazers organization and my team as well. Man, we'll be back up and running.
Scoot, obviously the run-up's going to be a little bit different for you now with the injury, but Chauncey was talking about how bringing in Saint and bringing in Thiago and how different the offense is going to be less static. There's going to be more movement, more unpredictable cuts. You've said so many times over the last couple of years, you just want to hoop, you just want to go out there and play. Like when you hear Chauncey say that, when you guys are kind of going through this stuff, does that, again, in spite of the injury, does that kind of empower you and make you feel like that this is going to be more complementary to how you want to play?
For sure. I think the way we're playing this year is going to be a lot faster. We always talked about how we wanted to play fast, but there was never really any construction around it, so we were kind of just free roaming a little bit. But I feel like this year with Saint and Thiago and CB with the head of the snake, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Like you said, a lot of unexpected cuts, and I'm going to be able to know where everybody's at. We're all going to be moving in unison, so it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. We're going to be playing fast, getting up shots. So.
Your first impressions of Yong Hansen?
Man, I call him Hein. Like, you got to do the nene when you do the Hein. But, yeah, I'm telling you, is he coming here yet? Yeah, hopefully you do. I'm going to tell him to do it. But, man, that's big fella. Big fella, man. He's skilled, like really skilled. I remember seeing him, I think it was one of the pre-draft workouts. I'm like, I don't know if you can talk about that, but hey, I seen him. He was doing good, man. He was just out there balling, man. And I remember talking to with a few of my teammates at the time. We're just like, sheesh, like you got bag work. But I feel like Han's gonna do really good, man. I'm gonna just try to do my best at, coaching him while I'm on the floor, and the rest is up to him. He's really skilled, really basketball oriented, and he wants to learn. He's smartest. He's smart whether he knows a lot of English or not. You know what I'm saying? So he knows a lot of basketball terminology. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to play with him.
At Summer League, some of his teammates were teaching him different English phrases and words. Have you guys been doing that this summer?
Yeah, we've been trying to. Like I told you, I've been, a little joyful bag. Trying to get in it. I know how it is to be kind of rookie, and I don't know how it is to be a big and not understand too much English and you're surrounded by it now, but I can kind of just give him a little feel with him and Caleb. Just try to make it fun. You know what I'm saying? Try to make it fun while you're here. We blessed to play this game that we love, so why not have a little fun with it?
Any other questions for Scoot? All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Scoot. Thanks. Oh, I muted myself. All right, so that was Scoot. Talked about working on his pickups. For any of you who don't know what that means, it's basically just pull up. You can call it handwork, right? So ball coming up off the dribble, how do you get it into your shooting pocket up to your set point and through? Because it can be kind of tricky when you're going full speed, you're dribbling on the ball, and you got to pick it up and shoot fast. It can be tricky to get your hands on the ball properly and flow it into your normal jump shot. So that's generally what players, if you hear them talking about working on their pickups, that's generally what they're talking about. Would love to see Scoot become a better pull-up three-point shooter. I think that's something that Dame could help with a lot because Dame's one of the greatest pull-up three-point shooters of all time. Anyway, next up I would assume is Jrue or Shaedon Sharpe. Maybe Clingan. Anyway, chat, what's going on, chat? Give me something to respond to in the live chat. Is there a way to work on not getting injured? I mean, injuries happen. Some of it could be genetically driven. but like there's strength conditioning stuff that players can do to make it less likely, but it's never going to be something where you can just become invincible against any and all injuries. Great point in chat. Yes, pickups also can be referencing drives to the rim where you're picking up the ball. Especially in comparison to where the defender is. If you got a defender on your left hip, how are you picking up the ball and going into your right-handed layup? Scoot was working on a lot of kind of crafty footwork playing off of two in a lot of his workouts this offseason with Chris Johnson, and that could also be what he's referencing in terms of pickups. Scoot has always had an interesting bag in terms of pickups, though, even if you go back and look at his G League tape where he's killing the ball low. And oh, it's Jerami. We got Jerami up next.
Of course, basically, Jerami Grant.
This is going to be weird.
How do you feel your offseason went?
It went well. Great offseason. Got to get back home. Work on a lot of things, I wanted to work on. So definitely excited about the season.
Jerami, last time we talked to you at X interviews, you were pretty frustrated. Where are you at mentally heading into the season, just in terms of where you fit, the plan, all that?
I think we took some strides to get better, especially this offseason, getting Jrue, Dame back. I think I'm excited. I think we're definitely moving in the right direction. I think everybody's goal is the same now. I think we're moving towards winning. So I'm excited about it.
Talk about defense being your guys' identity. What do you think is the ceiling of this team's defense? How good can it be? And what does that look like? What is when you guys are clicking on defense? What do you think that's going to look like?
I think we can be a top defensive team in the league. We had a ton of length. We have a ton of physicality. A lot of guys who can shut their man down one-on-one defense, and a lot of smart players, a lot of defensive awareness on the court. So I think we can be a top defensive team in the league. We just got to make sure that is our identity, like we're saying.
Jrue, what does Jrue bring to this team?
A lot. That leadership, and then winning mentality. It's won 2 championships. I think he's a winner. He's a winner. He's a great player. He's extremely talented. So I think he brings a lot to the team that helps to change and shape the team differently. So.
Jerami, you, Dame, and Jrue obviously all play together on the Olympic team. You guys won a gold medal together. Like, how much do you kind of look at that and use that experience and that time that you guys spent together and being able to kind of transition that into this team?
I think it's huge. Knowing these guys, obviously played with Dame before he left and came back. But first time getting to play with Jrue in the NBA setting. But to be able to play with them on the biggest stage just allows for us to mesh, right? Like I got to talk to Dame when I was out there, and Jrue a lot also when I was out there. So those were a few of the guys that I actually, got to build a relationship with. So excited to be able to be here and try to translate whatever we can from winning a gold medal together.
What was your first, thought when you heard the news that Dame was coming back, considering, Dame was a big part of getting you here in the first place a few years ago?
I'm excited. I think that shifted the mentality of what it was for the last few years, mentally, going into the season not knowing, whether we wanted to win or lose or whatever. But now I think it's definite. I think everybody's on the same page, and I'm looking forward to where we're headed. So.
Jerami, it's been 5 years since you came off the bench, I believe. You haven't come off the bench since maybe the bubble. Have you considered a role where you would have to not start games here, or is that not something you've thought about?
Nah, I don't really expect that. So.
Do you feel like there's room for you, Toumani, Deni, all as part of the starting lineup together?
Yeah, I think we all are versatile. I think we all can play multiple positions. Yeah, I do.
Jerami, have you been approaching to the rookies yet? And more specifically, what's your impression of Hansen so far?
Yeah. Rookies are really talented. Hansen is really talented, really skilled. He's getting better every day. He's learning. He has great footwork. Yeah, just teaching him the ins and outs of the NBA. I try to, talk to him, whenever I can, and telling him where to be on the court and stuff like that. But I think he's doing great. I think sky's the limit for him.
Jerami, last year you had some frustration with just kind of where you fit in the offense. You were a guy that kind of worked in the mid post and kind of shifted more analytically towards threes and shots at the rim. Entirely new offense now with St. Tiago and CB just kind of putting that together. How do you kind of see yourself in your game fitting in that, and how much of your game is going to have to change to fit that?
I think, yeah, definitely very frustrating, last year with the offense and things like that. I think this year, CB, Joe shifted, the coaching staff to where the offense is different. The offense is different. I think it does fit what I do on the court. It's definitely an open offense to where it's a lot of driving kicks and swings and motion offense. It's a bit random, but also at the same time, there's a structure to it. I think it fits. I think it fits my style of play. I think there will be a lot more open shots, a lot more driving opportunities. It won't be anybody standing in one spot, anybody standing in the corner. So I'm excited for it.
You've spoken about that frustration a little bit. Just after you left your exit interview last year, did you think you would be back here again this year?
Probably not. I definitely didn't, but I'm happy that I'm here right now. The way the team is structured and everything, the changes that were made, I think it's beneficial for me and for our team. So.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
I'm muted. Okay. So I was handling something, so I maybe missed an answer or two in the middle of that. But doesn't it just feel like a guy that's just trying to say the right thing? Did it feel that way to you guys, where he's just trying to say the right thing? And, I respect his honesty, saying he didn't really expect to be back. The reason he's back is because he's making an obscene amount of money, so congratulations to him. That's why you're still here, because you're making obscene money. They absolutely tried to trade him this offseason and couldn't. I told you guys after the X interview last year that if they didn't trade him this offseason, it's because they literally can't. They literally can't. I mean, sure, they could attach multiple firsts to him to get off his contract, but they're not going to do that. All right? They could not find a deal even close to being worth taking. That's why he's still here. And when you hear him say he expected to be gone and he's still here, well, there you go. All right, we got Jrue.
What's this like, just wearing a Blazers uniform right now?
Pretty cool. It looks pretty good on me. Not gonna lie to you. Number 5 is different, but feels good.
Why that number?
There weren't many options. There's really no tie to the number 5 for me. So.
Jrue, when the trade was first agreed to, there were some draft picks in the trade that ended up getting taken out when it was finalized, and they said we heard that it was because of medical stuff. Are you all good medically, physically?
Oh yeah, I'm great. I'm good to go.
Yeah. Did you have a sense at the end of last year that things were going to change in Boston and that you might be in this situation where you're on another team?
Definitely had a sense, just new management, contract situation, money situation. I think everybody kind of knew that there's going to be some changes. And once those changes came, I mean, they made it known to us that things possibly could happen. So it was known.
I'm sure you probably weren't surprised when you were traded, but how surprised were you when you found out you were traded here?
Yeah, I was actually really excited because of the relationship that I just built from the first time I was traded with Chauncey and Joe. Them being so great to me and gracious, sending me to a spot where I got a chance to win, and them circling back and coming to get me is kind of full circle.
What did you spent a lot of time out in LA this summer with Scoot. There was some of that on YouTube that a lot of people have seen. What did you see from him, and kind of what are your impressions of him kind of working with him on a pretty consistent basis?
I love his work ethic. He is a gym rat. That's one of the biggest things I think for me, because I was the same way. I'm a little older now, so. But I think just to see him in the gym, dedicated to his craft, learning new things, asking me questions, asking CJ questions that we work out with. But not only that, you see him in open runs, you see him working out, waking up at 5. You can see the dedication to him getting better, and that's something that I love. And then just getting to know him as a person. He's hilarious. He's funny, obviously a bit younger than me, so getting the chance to get to know him on that level has been cool.
Jrue, what are your thoughts about what this team could do from a defensive perspective? Obviously, you're a fantastic offensive player. I think the roster, they've been trying to address that part of the ball more. Can you just speak what you've seen so far of this team and where you guys might be able to go defensively?
Yeah, defensively, I think we'll have a good chance of being really, really good. You've already seen last year in 2. You've seen it in a lot of these guys. We got Jerami, we got Scoot, we got guys that can pick up full court, we got guys that can play 1 through 5. We got rim protection and Hansen and Rob and DC. So I think defensively we're going to be really, really good. Very athletic. Be able to switch at times, do different type of things that can throw some teams off. But the athleticism and the defensive mindedness is there.
Jrue, the first time in many years recently, the first time the team actually brought a player who had a championship experience. What are the things that you're trying to bring to this team, and what were your expectation of the team at overall success when you seeing all those young talent here?
Yeah, I just think I try to bring that mentality of coming in and working every day. I do think that it is consistency. I feel like it's obviously very, very hard to win a championship, but and winning's hard in this league, especially here in the Western Conference. So to bring some consistency, I think is very, very important. And then my expectation is to win games, to see what that's like. Obviously, I know when you have seasons of not doing so well, it can sometimes get discouraging, but we want to stay positive. We want to be very, very encouraging and win games.
Jrue, at basically every stop in your career, you've been a guy who can toggle up, toggle down on offense, whether it's in New Orleans, in Milwaukee, Boston. You've fit in so many different systems. When you look at what CB and Tiago and Saint are trying to do and being more random, is that something not only for you, but something you can kind of impart on the young guys of like how to actually do that, the difference between being a guy and being the guy and working within that, just because it's so different kind of from what the systems have been here for the last decade?
Yeah. I think I've done a little bit of both. I think I've been the guy and I've been a guy, and I think to be a star in your role is very, very important. So that's something that I do definitely bring, and something that I will teach, or even just by actions, because again, for me, it's all about winning and whatever it takes. So I don't want to say fit into the mold, but being the best I can in my role is something that's very, very important, and to be able to do it with the offense that we have. How fast we are, how athletic we are, how we can get steals and rebounds off the break and push it into the open floor, I think is really going to be beneficial to us.
In your experience, good defensive teams, do they have a common trait or anything like that?
I think it's a lot of everything. I think one big thing is rebounding. Rebounding is huge. Obviously, when other teams get offensive rebounds, that's it kind of steals that energy. It takes that momentum away. Not only that, I think direct drives to the basket where our guys get blown by is something else that really can kill a team's defense. You've seen guys from last year. You've seen these guys really
be able to lock in defensively. And now that we have so many guys that are like that, I think it's going to be really frustrating for offenses. So us getting more steals, I think is going to be great. Less paint touches and less threes for the other team, I think is going to be great. And then how athletic we are in transition is something that's an advantage for us.
What have you seen from Hansen so far on and off the court, and how much do you think he can contribute to the team right away?
Yeah. To be so young, he's very, very skilled. A very, very smart player. He's huge, by the way. He's really tall. So I think his mobility, how well he's able to move at his height is an advantage, especially for him. He can shoot. He can pass. And I think with that, especially in the league now where it's not really like you throw it into the post and give it to a big and he goes, him being able to play off the pass and play with athletic guards like the ones that we have, I think it's going to open up a lot for him. And then he's just so open to learning the language, learning just the game, how we play it over here. And then off the court, he's just hilarious. I think he really just enjoys life. He enjoys being here, and that's really good to see.
Jrue, looking at the defense, can you just Clingan, the importance that he brings, down low? Just can you describe how important he is?
I think one of the first times we played pickup, he blocked my shot, and I told him don't ever do that again. But he's he's a rim protector. I was in Boston when he was at UConn, so the year that they won. I think being able to kind of watch him from a college perspective and then kind of see him here and just how much he's grown and just from college and then having a year in the league has been great. So rim protection from him. You also have Rob Williams, who is a great shot blocker, and I'm sure he learns a lot from him as well.
Blocked your shots inside?
He has not. He's tried though. He's tried. You should ask him. I don't know if you already had him. He hasn't blocked my shot after that.
To go back to the number, 4 and 21, obviously taken to the ones you've worn before, but did you have 11 as an option?
I did not have 11 as an option. I would have for sure went back to 11, which is my first number in the league, and feel like I played half my career in 11, but no, it was not an option.
Jrue, I think there's a kind of a narrative that you're here to mentor and that you're in the twilight of your career. Is there anything kind of inside of you that it's like, hey, I still got it. I
think everybody here knows that I still got something. I think for maybe the last couple of years, like I said, I've started my role, and that's what was needed to win. So whatever it takes to win, that's what I'm gonna do. Can I still defend? Yeah. Can I still score? For sure. But I think at the same time, being able to build something here is something that's super important to me. Building a culture, winning culture, and then showing that even though I'm 35, I still got a lot left in me. It is something that I'll show.
Love his comments about building a winning culture.
Sure.
Love his comments about building a winning culture, man. Because the Blazers, step one is kind of building an identity and what you want to do well, and then step two is holding yourselves to a high level, consistently winning games, improving upon the flaws that you need to win basketball games. And this season, and with bringing in Jrue Holiday, the Blazers are essentially trying to get into that second phase where we're going to consistently be competitive. We're going to win games, not just against bottom feeders, but also against good teams as well. Hopefully be above 500 this year and build that culture that we're actually going to perform at a high level. Because it's one thing it's one thing for it to just be we're a scrappy defensive team. Yet on the offensive side of the ball, we have a ton of warts that hold us back. And, if a team gets hot from three, we can't really keep up with them. That's different than being able to get it done on both sides of the floor and consistently play at a level good enough to consistently win games. So, next, I have an 11 for the Demonis trade at the deadline. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Who has 11? Did Blake Wesley get that? No, Blake Wesley was after Jrue. I don't know. I don't know why that number was taken. We got Shaedon Sharpe up next. Shout out to Tristan Klein, member for 19 months. Says Holiday hasn't missed the playoffs since 2014. Hopefully that streak continues.
How's the off season?
Off season's been treating me well. Just putting in work. I'm more excited for the season to come though. It's been like 5 months, so I'm ready. So.
What was your biggest area of focus or areas in the off season?
I'd say my all around game, but really focus on just shooting the three, more fluent. My ball handling and just decisions coming off the screen. Also was watching film just on previous games, so just watching that.
Shaedon, are you expecting you and Joe to get an extension done before the end of the season, or where are things at on that right now?
Right now, I'm just leaving it to my agents. I'm letting them handle it. I'm more focused on my work and just the season. So just getting ready for the season. Just excited.
You expect to be a starter this year?
I don't expect anything really. I just expect for me to come in and help this team, whether that's coming off the bench or starting. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm just gonna come out and do what I got to do to help this team.
The team parted ways with the DA and Ant, who were a big part of the offense. Do you feel any pressure or any need of you to provide more offense than what you provided till now?
No, I don't feel no pressure. I feel like the guys we got here are special. We've been practicing for 3 weeks now, so just building that chemistry and just knowing each other, I think we'll do fine.
Where you are, you think, as far as where your season can go, your ceiling?
I think we can go as far as we take it. Whether that's play-in, playoffs. I feel like if we really lock in and do what we got to do, we could take it as far as we want.
Shaedon, do you feel like that you have anything to prove this year?
Nah, I just want to come out, play basketball, play hard, do what I got to do to help this team. So.
You don't feel any added weight just chasing the contract? Obviously, it's such a big season from that standpoint for you.
Not at all. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just basketball. I'm gonna come here, play basketball, again, do what I got to do to help this team. So no pressure at all.
Last season, you were healthier and be able to play more games than your rookie year. Does that give you like a clear vision or sense that something that you could probably do or set as a goal in your future?
Well, I'm just gonna, do what I gotta do to take care of my body to play as many games as I can. So that starts off court with HMP and, like I said, just doing what I gotta do to keep my body healthy.
I'm always curious when I hear guys say they're watching a lot of film in the off season. What are you looking for? What kind of things do you see from that, and how does that help you?
I'm really just looking at different coverages, how different teams play me in certain situations. I watch a lot of that, and then also other players. Really, watching film on Anthony Edwards, Devin Booker, really players that play my position. So.
As one of 3 players on this team who played with Damian Lillard, if I would have told you this time last year that Dame was back on this squad going into this season, what would have your reaction been?
What you mean, like my?
I guess just what is it like? What was your reaction to when you found out Damian was coming back to this team?
I mean, I wouldn't say I was surprised, but I kind of figured, he would come back home eventually. So I mean, I wasn't really surprised. I was on the flight on the way back to Portland, so that's when it happened. That's where I was at.
You had talks with Chauncey regarding what he expects of you and your role in the next season, and also did you initiate anything from your end?
Any what?
Anything from your end as far as what you see your role to be, your offensive responsibilities, and so forth?
No, I haven't really had no talks yet. I'll probably meet with him soon, but the talks so far have just been, just playing my game, just playing hard. We just been running, and hooping. That's it.
You mentioned the workouts the last few weeks, but in addition to that, how do you individually and then the team as a whole sort of pick up where you left off the second half of last season?
I mean, us players are familiar with each other, some new coaches. I don't think it'd be hard to pick up where we left. We just gotta, keep playing together, and that's it.
What's your favorite part about this team and the roster?
Favorite team about this team and the roster? Probably just playing with these guys, man. They push you in practice. They play hard, and we got some young guys and old guys, so it kind of evens itself out. And these guys are just funny and fun. So.
What do you think of Hansen?
Hansen. He's a 7-footer that can pass the ball. He can dribble a little, shoot the three. I think he's a special dude and can really take this team to the next level.
Thank you, Shaedon.
Thanks, Shaedon.
I always love how Shaedon is just authentically himself. People talking about in chat how he has nothing to prove. Listen, it's much better than DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton said he had nothing to prove because he's already a max contract player. Shaedon Sharpe's in a contract year, doesn't have his next contract, and says he has nothing to prove. So, Ayton's priorities were the max contract. Sharpe just likes to hoop. Sharpe just likes to play basketball, man. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. So it's always fun to hear Sharpe in how simple he keeps things. He did speak a bit more. He did elaborate a little bit more than he has in the past. So, sometimes I wonder if Sharpe's a superstar, like, what does his marketability look like if he was a top 5 player in the league? Would his interviews change at all? These are the things that I wonder sometimes, but I think he'd still be himself. He just doesn't care beyond the basketball, So some people might take that the wrong way, like, oh, he doesn't really care about basketball either. If he didn't really care about basketball, he would not be in the NBA. Let's be real. So. Here to hoop, ain't shit to talk about. Exactly. The press should apologize for making him bored. They asked some good questions. What are you supposed to do? You just want to hoop. Man. If he puts in as much effort this season as he does into looking chill, we're winning it all. I don't think he puts any effort at all into looking chill. I think that's just his personality. He's just a chill dude, man. I hope to see more fire on the floor, though. As an athlete, who you are on the court is normally going to be different than who you are off the court. Sometimes it's not the case, but I'm full of baseball references because my Mariners are in the ALDS and things have been going well, so now I'm full of baseball references because I've been locked in there. But, they got a player by the name of Josh Naylor who has had some psychotic moments screaming like... You have to search it up. Josh Naylor goes crazy. Search it up on YouTube. You'll see what I'm talking about. Off the field, he's just the chillest guy. He's almost kind of Sharpe-like, but on the field, this dude's like crazy competitive and gets super amped and fiery. That's what I love to see from Sharpe. Maybe not that level of craziness, but show some fire on the floor. Try and have that killer mentality. Take teams' hearts. All that good stuff. Off the floor, you can be the chillest guy ever. You can be both. So, 95% of sports interview questions are goofy. So I thought Dwight had a good one. The one about what he's looking for specifically when he's watching film. And Sharpe gave a legit answer there. Insightful answer. Anyway, next up would be probably Clingan. I'm really looking forward to hearing Clingan get asked about the how impossible it is for him to play 30 minutes in a game. You know, if we let social media ask questions, that'd be the first question. So Donovan, what did you do this offseason to make it possible for you to survive playing 30 minutes in a basketball game? I do think one of the things you'll hear from Clingan is that he did a lot of work to get in better shape, so that he can play heavier minutes. But my jokes are in regards to people that think it's impossible for him to play a good 30 minutes, because he literally did so last year. And then I assume we'll have we could have Robert Williams next. We have Clingan, Rob, Yong, Thybulle, Blake Wesley? I don't know, but here we go. Oh, no. They went to the podium and then cut back. I guess you might hear from Caleb Love as well. Can't remember if they did the interviews for the two-way guys last year or not. There is a siren. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Anyway, as we wait for the next interview, once again, we'll have post-game shows all year long. Going to try and do daily video content on days that games aren't, but not going to commit to that because I don't know. You know, I'm a busy person. But want to do podcast platforms as well. So might do some exclusive content over there that you might get like sneak peeks of on the YouTube channel, but want to do more of that this season. A little bit more in terms of bringing guests on, doing content with, you know, somebody that covers, let's just say, the Warriors before a Warriors game. And then we want to do some playback stuff. I'm hoping that, I know Crushables does some playback stuff, but we want to kind of build our platform on playback. Playback, if you don't know what playback is, basically you can listen to us while watching a game. You have to have League Pass, or I think they might be able to sync Blazers TV up with it, Blazer Vision, because Blazer Vision was through League Pass, so that's the hope. And then hopefully we'll have a few different hosts. Like, I don't plan on doing it every game, but it would be cool to have a playback stream every game. We got Yong up next. Let's go, man. Yong sat in front of the shorter mic. That's funny.
All right. Questions for Hansen. Obviously, Chris is here to translate.
I was told to ask you by Mike, what's your favorite food in Portland that you got here?
Hot pot.
From a specific restaurant?
Happy that?
Happy Lamp in the Bifton, yeah.
The NBA is playing 2 games this year in Macau, and I'm wondering, would you like to see more games played in China, and would you like to play at some point in China with the Trailblazers?
就是球队能够回国的话，这也是对于我一份荣耀。然后就是我觉得就是能够在家乡父老面前去展示自己，然后去就是在这么高的平台上，然后开拓者这么好的球队，然后去能够就是在展示自己，是个非常开心的事情。无论是回国还是在这，都是非常美妙的事情。
Like I want to say, firstly, like play as a Blazers, like it's a wonderful thing for me, and I wish that I can take all the players and the management and coaches to China for sure in the future, and just like either way, like play in China for sure. I wish more games in China, and in China or in States, both for me works because like I love this team, I love here, so that works for me perfectly. I just wish that in the future we can head into. I can take my and also play in front of all my homies. That was so like most of the proudest thing for me. Yeah.
Hansen, what was behind your decision not to play for the national team this summer at Asia Cup?
能不能透露一点细节？就是你今年没有去参加亚洲杯，透露一些相关的细节，有没有什么背后的故事？
就是自己去年打了1年 CBA， 然后就是打完联赛以后，就是收拾行李就来到了美国，然后准备就是选秀，然后跟着克朗驰在洛杉矶训练。你先说。
I finished my CBA season last year, and I just stayed there for 1 week, and I packed all my stuff heading to LA with Clunch together do the pre-draft workout.
然后一直在连续试训了27天14个球队，差不多，然后试训了14支球队，然后就是然后再加上就是完事以后接着跟着波特兰打系列联赛，完事一直就中间没有歇，然后国家队就是觉得就是太长时间没休了，怕出伤病，然后就是让休息，就决定。
I went to 14 teams in 27 days. After that, like I flew to different city, and also after that I went to Portland for the summer league, and in this period I never get off. So from national team for their side, like they thought just maybe give me rest is the better choice to keep away from the injury and make me ready for the new season.
然后就是能够帮助就是准备下个赛季，然后另外一个也是预防伤病，然后领导决定。
Like they just had me like Hansen better just don't go with this, like get a couple of days rest and be ready for the new season.
Are you planning or hoping to play for the national team later on in your career, like at the Olympics or FIBA World Cup or some of the bigger stuff like that?
希望来代表国家队中国队能重返奥运会，包括能去世界杯闯一闯吗？
我觉得这个是作为运动员最引以为傲的事情，就是能够站上奥运会的舞台。你先说。
If I can help the China national team back to the Olympic, that would be the biggest honor for me.
就是自己不能说能够做的多么完美多么啥的，就是尽自己所能去干好每件事情，然后就是希望自己能够更为国家队更多出一份力。
I can't say I'm a perfect player, but I will do everything I can do for the national team to bring them back.
Hansen, what have you been working on since the end of Summer League here in Portland, and how is the process of getting to know your teammates going?
就是 smile face don't punch.
Okay, that's Hansen's Chinglish. Like you will never slap someone who always give you the smile, right? So in the beginning, Hansen always smiled too. I smiled to my teammate all the time.
就是笑呵呵的，就是说错了也不会挨打呀，就是类似的。
Even I say something wrong or act something weird, I just use my smile to stop them to next move.
Scoot had said that your nene is pretty good. The Scoot.
我谢谢他夸我吗？
That's a compliment, right?
这在夸我吗？
夸你这个是，能不能想跳一跳？
想让我出手，直接这想让我在这出手。
Oh, that would be a little bit embarrassing, so I'm not.
他说你是新秀没关系的，出手是你的事情。
他现在英语感觉学的怎么样了？就是有没有什么 一路上有没有什么困难在学习英语的过程中？
So how about the English, Hansen? Like what's going on with the English? How the process works?
I think English bad every day, but sometimes it's Chinglish.
Like about passing, and where did you learn that art?
就是看一些集锦，然后就是sometimes I watch highlight， 是 highlight 吗？然后 after 去想，稍微想想，然后就是看能不能在比赛里边去运用上。
I will try to rewind that in my brain, so like maybe like on the bed. So once I maybe any moment I can use it, I try to imagine the situation scenario, so I can maybe in that moment coming to me, I can use it right away.
然后刚才哥哥说的就是我的传球怎么样？我觉得一般般啊，失误也挺多的。
I got a lot of turnovers too. Like talk about turnovers more maybe.
Limited time you've been able to play with your teammates just over the last few weeks. What's been the biggest adjustment, and what do you think will be the biggest adjustment moving into the season?
就是说错了别怨我。
No disrespect, firstly.
I think more fast and more strong in game, and in corner， 在场上。
On the court.
On the court, I want 沟通。Communicate English need better. I want， 所以说就是这个是要去适应去啥的。
Yeah, I just try to work on my body, be faster, and be more physical, and try to communicate with my teammates more by English.
What has stood out to you about your new teammates and how they play the game and how you work with them on the court?
就是跟随大哥们的想法。
I try to follow all the events, see what they're doing, and try to cooperate with them together.
Follow 我的 OG 们。
A third of the league are international players, but there hasn't been a player coming out of China who's a huge market in many, many years. How has he been growing up to deal with pressure and the expectations off the court and on the court, and how does he plan to look at it from now on?
首先我觉得就是这能够在站在这边就是一个非常荣幸、非常开心的事情，就是对于我自己来说，就是职业生涯来说。
For my career, like I can be here, that will be most like the happiest thing for me right now.
就是我觉得就是你做这件事情之前不要想太多。
I still in the process. I achieved nothing in here, so I don't have to think that much right now.
就是做好的事情就是做好训练，然后跟着大哥们打好每一场球，然后打好每一场训练赛。
Focus on my game, just follow my teammate together, see what I can do for them, what I can do for the team.
What are your goals for your rookie season?
打好每一场球，然后争取好每一场时间。
Like focus on every game I have, and treasure every minute I have.
You mentioned in your Players Tribune letter that during draft workouts you were trying to get in your opponent's heads. Have you been doing that during off-season workouts with your new teammates?
Sorry, say it again.
In the Players Tribune letter, he said that he was trying to get into opponents' heads during draft workouts. Has he been doing that with his new teammates?
I try to build brotherhood with my teammates. So.
都是我的朋友，都是我的兄弟。
They're my friend now, so I will not do that anymore.
Have you thought at all, particularly with Scoot going down, your ability to play make, and if that's something as a rookie you feel like you could do in terms of helping facilitate the offense?
我觉得就是不能在这儿说就是能够帮助到什么，就是尽自己所能去干好自己每一件事情，然后传好自己每次球，然后抢好每次篮板，就是为球队贡献一份力量。
I can't say I can help the team often that much. I just try to make every pass right. I grab every rebound in front of me and see what else I can do for the team.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hansen.
Thank you.
Alrighty. That was a fun one, man. That was a fun one. It's going to be interesting to see what his role looks like if Robert Williams III is down and how much they're going to put the ball in his hands compared to just potentially using him as a big that can, move the ball from the top of the arc, swing, flip sides of the floor, run pick and roll. Like, are they actually going to put the ball in his hands at the elbow, running cutters, expecting him to make more advanced reads of NBA defenses? Or is it just going to be bringing him along slowly and maybe giving him an opportunity here or there, but making things easier on him as a rookie if he has to play? B-Skrill says he has a lot of gravity and can pass over tall defenders. I mean, yeah, but he's going to be guarded by 7-footers. He's going to be guarded by bigger players than he's used to. And then these passing lanes are going to go close faster than he's used to. It's the NBA. So the speed of everything, the size, athleticism. Basically, young players have to learn how to calculate passes differently. Because what was a window that you could fit a pass through in China it's not the same calculation in the NBA. That window closes faster. That's why you see young players make a lot of turnovers. They have to work on calculating passes, angles, passing windows differently. So I wouldn't expect him to come in and be some masterful playmaker as a rookie, masterful passer as a rookie. I think he'll have flashes and moments, and you just hope that those moments grow to consistency in 3 years' time. But that's where patience is going to be needed with him. And if he just gets it right away, that's very rare, and that's great. The communication can kind of hold him back more than anything. I mean, I'm sure he's learning like basketball terms and how to communicate in the language of basketball. It's stuff that he's hearing every day that's probably being explained to him. Like, that's different than having to articulate oneself in an everyday conversation. And speaking of articulate, we get Donovan Clingan here to articulate his
How we
thoughts.
doing, everybody?
Good.
Nice to see you all again.
Hi, Donovan.
Questions for Donovan?
Donovan, what was the summer like for you, knowing that you're likely to step into a much larger role in year two?
It was a summer of really getting the best shape I can, as strong as I can, being able to screen and roll at a high speed, and being able to finish around the rim efficiently, and really stepping out and working on my 3-ball and being able to make shots confidently and consistently. I put a lot of work in the summer, and I feel like it's going to pay off.
How much better shape are you in now than you were going to your rookie season?
A lot better shape. I feel like there's times in practice and in runs where last year I was absolutely winded, and now this year, I feel like I keep going. I feel like my conditioning is one of the things that has taken the biggest jump over the summer.
Why didn't you play Summer League?
Say it again?
Why didn't you play Summer League?
I just, I feel like, Hansen coming in, giving him time to, showcase what he could do, and really was just working on my game, and just building chemistry with my teammates and pickup.
Did you add or gain weight? Was that part of the conditioning process in the summer?
I actually lost weight and really started gaining muscle. I feel like that was one of the biggest things was my weight was affecting me getting up and down the court, so I lost some weight, and I feel the best I've ever felt.
Chauncey, you talked about a minutes target.
No.
How much you can be out there?
No, not yet. But for me personally, I feel like I could at least double my minutes from last year, just based on my conditioning and how much I've put the work in this summer, and I'm really excited about this year.
You played like 20 minutes a game last year, so you're gonna go
Oh,
40.
all right, we'll say at least 30.
There you go.
Mentioned Yong Hansen.
At
What
least
have
30.
your impressions been of him since you've been around him?
He's a great player. Offensively, I feel like his footwork and his finishing around the rim is top tier. He's doing very well at learning the terms, especially in English. He's in there early every day and getting work in. He's trying to learn everything he possibly can, and he's coachable. And he's a good guy to be around.
What do you like about the team's defensive makeup, and how good do you think you guys can be?
I feel like defensively we could be one of the best teams in the league. Just with the way that we have, with the guards we have, pressuring around the perimeter, forcing it into the bigs. Me, Rob, and Hansen protecting the rim at a high level. And I feel like defensively we could take. We finished off strong last year, but I think we could take an even bigger jump.
How do you feel about your game now compared to the rest of the centers now going into year 2? Now you got a little bit more professionalism under your belt.
Yeah, I feel like I learned a lot playing against those guys. Really just for me, I feel like one of the biggest things that held me back was my finishing around the rim. Over the summer I've been working hard at finishing through contact, finishing over height, finishing both hands. Working on my touch, and I feel like that's one of the biggest things that will take a jump, with my conditioning this year.
With that same kind of vein, obviously the defense has kind of been the focus of this team, but you've got 2 new assistant coaches that are kind of helping reshape the offense. Kind of where do you see yourself fitting that? You mentioned working on your 3-ball, but Chauncey mentioned things are going to be a lot more random, and you didn't really get those opportunities to kind of showcase some of your passing and your vision. Do you think those are things you can work in more with what you've seen from the offense already?
Yeah, I feel like space, just with the floor spacing and with everything that we've been working on, I feel like I could show my ability to pass, my ability to knock down shots, my ability to get my teammates open shots. I feel like the ball screen game can and will be very effective. Especially having Jrue in here. He's special. In that ball screen game, and I feel like this new offense could showcase not just mine but all of my teammates' abilities to at a high level.
Jrue says you haven't blocked him since you did once, and he said don't do that again. So you gonna get one back once practices start here? Let him know.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try to get one more. I remember he went up for like a little floater left hand side, and I blocked it. He was like, "Hey, don't do that again." I said, "Hey man, I'm just doing my job."
So you haven't got him since then, though?
No, I haven't got him since then. I don't know if he, just pump fake, passed out, or I haven't had the opportunity to, I should say.
Donovan, does it do anything for your confidence as a young player to know that, obviously DA is an important player and was important here last year, but that they've moved on from that to really kind of clear space for you almost?
Yeah, I feel like it gives me the confidence to go out there and show everyone what I'm capable of, what I'm about. I'm a guy that just wants to win and impact winning at a high level. And especially with the team. We thrive on defense, and that's something I thrive on. And so just to be able to go out there and show everyone what I could do, defend the rim at the high level, and just help my team win.
Were you surprised by DA taking a buyout? Was that something you had any advance notice of?
No, I was surprised. DA helped me a lot. Transition into this league. That will always be my guy, and I appreciate everything that he did for me, and he definitely helped me take that big jump from college to the NBA.
How's the puppy training going?
Puppy's great. He's a little baby shark now, but he's going through that teething stage, but he'll be good.
What's been a harder adjustment for you, the NBA or picking up golf?
I have to say the NBA. My golf game is not good. I'm going to keep trying, but golf clubs are going away for a while now.
Any questions? All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Donovan.
All right. That was DC. I think he's going to dominate this year. We got to get a dominate in media day. We're missing Ayton, so I'll be the one to say it. Our starting center is actually going to dominate this year defensively. One thing that I've liked from a lot of these player interviews is they're saying all the right things in terms of what they needed to work on. With Clingan, it was finishing around the rim. It was a little brutal at times last year, especially with both hands working on his touch. But then the conditioning, he looks thinner. And he's a gym rat, just like Scoot is. Not surprised to see him look better. He says he's lost weight. I think he'll be able to play 30 minutes a game. I really do. And he'll also get the benefit this year as he plays 30 minutes a game. I think he'll develop that reputation of being an elite rim protector, which will get him a more friendly whistle than he got as a rookie, because in this league, rookies don't get the benefit of the doubt in terms of defensive fouls. I think he's going to be... I would not be afraid to sit here and say he's going to be an all-defensive team guy next season. I'm not afraid to say that. I think the impact he's going to have on this defense with his rim protection, but also just quarterbacking the defense, being vocal, calling out stuff. As the center, as the back line of defense, you have to do a lot of communication. That's not something that it seems like he struggles with at all. That was something that I wondered with DeAndre Ayton, how good his communication was defensively. But I think he's going to be quickly viewed as a top 5 rim protector in the league. His ability to protect the rim will allow Toumani, will allow Jrue, will allow Matisse, if he plays, to be more aggressive on the perimeter, because he cleans up the mistakes from that, right? If you are being over-aggressive on the perimeter, if you're gambling in passing lanes and you get beat and you don't have good rim protection behind that, that's how you have a parade to the rim and your defense falls apart. And then those players have to dial that back and play more conservatively. Clingan, in a way, opens up everything for the Blazers defense, where it allows them to be even more aggressive on the perimeter, playing up on ball handlers, not having to worry, if this guy gets a step on me, we're screwed. Because you have Donovan Clingan back there, who I think is going to have a fantastic season this year. Next up, we got Rob Will.
So, Rob, Joe told us that you're not quite cleared to play fully. Do you have any kind of sense of how far away you are from that?
Nah, the biggest thing is just conditioning. Me not being out there for a while, dating back to last year, just trying to make sure I'm right when I do get out there, leading by example.
Seems like it's kind of them holding you back more than anything, just in light of last year?
Yeah, but I feel like I trust the staff, PTs, Joe, to a great extent, you know what I'm saying? So we kind of put our heads together and come up with the best plan.
How would you describe sort of the mental fatigue of coming back from injuries and having to sort of have this conversation with us again and again?
It's tough. Injuries aren't easy for anyone, but it's the as soon as I'm back on the court moving and feeling like my old self, you know, it's like it goes away. You know, I've been through a couple of injuries. I know, you know, the ins and outs of it. And I learned that you can't dwell on it, you know what I'm saying, because that's when you start going the other way. So it's all positivity.
Rob, what are your thoughts on the defensive potential for this team? Obviously, you had Jrue. You're obviously a top-flight defensive player. Donovan moving the starting lineup as a lead rim protector. Kind of where do you feel like you guys might be able to do on that side of the ball?
You know, I feel like that's what we hung our head at last year. You know, I feel like we got great players offensively, fast players, but you know, a lot of mistakes happen offensively. I say that to say, on the defensive side, it has to be a place where mistakes are limited. You know what I'm saying? Because we do have the depth, we have the variety of players, so we just got to hold each other accountable.
Since you guys have been playing fives back at the facility, who's really stood out to you? Like, is there one player you say, like, oh, wow, he's added to his game, or I didn't know he could do that type of thing?
Probably Hans, man. I'm going to be honest. You know, I ain't get to see Hans a lot, you know, so just watching him adapt to the game, watching him pick up a concept when he might not even understand what you're telling him, you know what I'm saying, or what you're saying to him, and his drive to, like, play and learn, you know, for sure, Hans.
What have you been able to do to this point, and do you have a target, like you want to be back for the first preseason game or regular season, or what's kind of your mindset with that?
Yeah, so I just been really doing everything that I can do, other than I guess just like full out playing. You know what I'm saying? Me and the PT staff came up with a great date for me to come back. You know I can't share that with y'all, obviously, man. But you know it's something we working towards, and I think it's going great, man. Like you said, to your question earlier, you know it get tough getting up here talking about injuries all the time, but once you see that light at the end, it's like, you know, all the anxiety and the frustration going away.
Is that great date in November, or is that great date in December?
Can't speak on that, man, but...
Are you doing just individual work then, or like 2-on-2, 3-on-3, or, you know?
So it's a little more than individual. You can guess a lot on it, but, you know, all jokes aside, just in a great space, man. Body-wise, mentally. These guys do a lot for me too, you know, seeing the young guys, seeing all the guys get in there and just play, be themselves, pulling the team together, just trying to stay on that track, man, so when I do get back, you know, I'm helping them.
Rob, not to belabor the injury point, we talked last year about when you returned how good you were feeling in that moment, and to have that setback. How are you able to kind of couch that and keep that positive mentality to not fall into those trappings that you talked about?
Like I said, I feel like I've been through like a lot of injuries, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like the injury I had the year before, that was like, you know what I'm saying, that was probably the most devastating injury to me. And I feel like shit light, you know, I keep this motto, walk around the facility, I always say like shit is light, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of how you got to look at life, you know what I'm saying? This shit light, just another bump in the road, and I'm almost over. So.
What was your reaction to the news that Dame was coming back?
I'm like, hell nah. Like, is he actually coming back? But to that point, bro, I feel like when Dame had the rally last week, it showed me a different side of, you know, fans in Portland. You know what I'm saying? It showed me, you know, the energy you put in this world. Obviously, I feel like the energy, that's what you're going to get back. You know, you can tell Dame bought in when he was here, you know, and the people still love him. They thankful for it, and they accepted him back, you know, so it was a great thing to see.
How do you think this defense compares to the other defenses in the West?
You know, I feel like we can compete with anybody. Like I said, you know, just a young, learning team. This is kind of a league where you don't get the luxury of saying we're young anymore, you know what I'm saying? So it's on me, it's on older guys like Jrue, you know, Jerami, everybody to just step in and keep the defense up to par and set the standard.
What do you think separates this team, or will be the separator from a playoff berth?
If you want me to be honest, man, just locking in and believing. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to believe a lot of stuff when you can't see it. You know, when Dame first came back, he sat me down, he talked to me about them going to the Western Conference Finals. You know what I'm saying? And just the grit that they had, the love for one another to lock in and trust your brother beside you. You know, I think that's the main thing for us, man, just buying in.
You get the sense the guys are bought in?
Yeah, for sure.
Shaedon Sharpe.
My dog. Yeah, I'm always on Shay. That's why I had to bring him up. But nah, the young guys have been making me proud. Roops, City, Blake, you know what I'm saying? All the young guys, even the G League guys. But that's part of me answering your question about buying in. I've been seeing them every day, you know what I'm saying, for the past 2 months come in and actually realize, okay, I got a footprint in this game, Scoot, you know, everybody else. So.
You bring up Shea, I imagine just because there's so much potential there, so much more he has to give, yeah.
Nah, he like my little brother, man. That's why I brought up Shea. You know, I'm always on his ass, so he's helping me go into a more vet role, you feel what I'm saying? I feel like I help him.
Who's that guy for you in Boston?
Probably Al Horford and Marcus Morris, for sure. You know, I kind of just watched those guys. Al wasn't really verbal, you know, kind of guy you just watch his everyday moves, you learn about him, you know, he help you out. But Marcus Morris, forever one of my top OGs, you know, taught me the game, taught me how to play the game the right way, be professional. So.
You said Hansen made a lot of big strides and stuff in training camp and whatnot. Is there a team that you're excited for him to play that doesn't understand his game that's probably going to be like, oh?
Everyone. If I'm going to be honest, I seen the highlights and stuff of Summer League, but when I got, you know, back to PDX and watched them, you know, and his ability to think on the fly. His ability to think on the fly is like, it's different, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, it's not that many people who can do stuff and they can't even understand what you're saying. You know, like we'll yell at him for 2 minutes straight and he'll happen to get it, you know, so it's different. You know, you can see the fight.
What is that communication like with him? Like, when you are yelling at him 2 minutes straight, is Chris Lou coming over and, like, being a liaison? Like, give us a sort of what's that scene like?
Yeah, Chris is always there, you know what I'm saying, to help him, especially when, like, coaches talking and stuff like that. But, you know, sometimes you might not be able to get over to him, and we might have to, you know, hey, look, roll all the way, you know, but he gets it quick, you know what I'm saying? He wants to learn it. That's the most intriguing part about it. So.
Okay. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
All right, so that was Robert Williams, still not cleared to play. Kind of annoying that we can't get any sense of a timeline. I don't know if that's something to be worried about or not. But, I mean, you just can't rely upon this dude to be healthy, man. It's a shame. It really is a shame. The center position... There's going to be a lot put upon Yong Hansen, and I just don't know how that's going to go in a rookie year. Because you can't rely on Robert Williams to stay healthy. Hopefully Clingan has a healthy year, but he's going to have moments where he gets some foul trouble. I mean, I guess they have Uprise, but I don't think Uprise is somebody that should be playing if you're trying to actually be a playoff team this year. What's funny is I've been talking about like a small ball lineup with Deni at the 5. As a possibility if Robert Williams isn't healthy, but with Scoot not healthy, Deni's going to have to play some point forward. So, like, do you have lineups where you have, say, Deni, Toumani, Jerami, Thybulle, and Sharpe? And, like, Deni defends the 5, but kind of plays the point? There's going to be some interesting lineups because of Robert Williams and Scoot Henderson being injured. I do like that he's taking a mentorship role. Kind of, Sharpe was not the guy, Sharpe was not the guy I was thinking he would be taken under his wing, but Robert Williams plays hard, has a good attitude. All right, speaking of Thybulle.
Miss you, Casey.
Hi, Matisse.
Question for Matisse.
What excites you most heading into this season?
Selfishly, that I get to play. I mean, I missed so much time last year just to be healthy and get on the court.
I was going to say, like, you were expecting to play so much basketball between 2 summers ago, then through the season, and didn't really get to play that much. So how did your relationship with the game evolve over that period?
I mean, in a lot of ways. One of the unexpected things I had to deal with this summer was trying to pace myself, because I got healthy and strong as the season ended, and that's when everyone else ramps down, takes care of their body, and then it gets ready for the next season. And I was getting into full swing, so trying to navigate this offseason was a little different for me, and just wanting to do more, but understanding what I'm preparing for is not an off season, it's a regular season. So to get myself to where I am now, I had to slow down a bit, which wasn't that easy.
With the addition of Jrue, with Donovan moving into a starting role, with yourself, like, what do you feel like the defensive potential for this team is?
I mean, massive. Even just like playing games in your mind about what kind of lineups we can put out there, it's pretty fun. Like, we have a few all defensive players and then guys who are right on the cusp. Like, we could put together some pretty ridiculous, as far as just our size and defensive prowess lineups. So, I mean, as a player I'm pretty excited about it all.
Have you had much of a chance to interact with Hansen yet, and kind of what are your impressions of him from what you've seen?
His English is getting better. That's been a big one. I mean, when we've been playing pickup, him and I just happen to have been on the same team a lot of those days, so it's been fun. The kid's really eager to learn. He's got like just some intangibles as far as his feel and the plays that he can make on the court, and then his size is something you can't really teach. And so as he gets stronger and as he gets used to the pace of the NBA, I think he's going to be making some pretty cool plays. People are going to be excited about him.
Is there a specific play from these summer workouts that stands out in your mind, thinking back, like a nice spin move, a nice pass?
Nothing specific, but just generally his passing ability, I think, surprises people, just because he's so big and so nonchalant with how he does it. That's probably been the most. That's the most surprising, and also just some of his dunks are just bizarre, because he's still on the ground half the time, but dunking on someone.
You talked about the couple years you've been here, Chauncey empowering you on the offensive side and how much that's kind of meant to you. You're a kind of guy that plays both free on offense and defense, where you're not kind of pigeonholed. Are you excited about the possibility for what this offense can do with a little more randomness, a little bit more action, a little bit more, I don't know, egalitarian in a sense?
Yeah, this offense, for players who tend to get stuck in the corner, this offense is really great to get you involved, to make you feel like you're involved. And ultimately, with any offense, that's the goal, is keeping guys engaged. And their offenses just have a tendency to have certain players get stuck in spots on the court where they don't feel like they're a part of things. And then that creates all types of problems, whether it's engagement, buy-in, or effort on defense. And not that those are things we're necessarily worried about, but the fact that everyone's going to be more involved, everyone's going to be more of a threat, I think it's going to be exciting for guys like myself and Toumani, defensive players who tend to sometimes get lost in the corners, just to be able to make more of an impact.
Any other questions? How's your filmmaking coming along?
No comment.
that good, huh?
Yeah, so the offense. The offense is the key to this season. Their half-court offense is the key to this season. I mean, they're going to try and run too, so not to belittle the importance of being an effective transition team. They should be a top 10 transition team, both, I think, in just overall pace as well as efficiency. But the half-court offense is the key to this season. They're going to be a good defensive team. Can they figure out a way to be at least average on offense. And that comes with playing as a team. I'll have a lot more thoughts at the end of this interview, at the end of the stream, just about the offense. But I love what I'm hearing. We got Chris Murray.
Good. A lot of traveling, a lot of basketball, traveling for basketball. But it's been a good summer. A lot of progress on the court, off the court. I feel like it was my best summer, just like, I don't know, just mentally. So.
Where your body at in terms of the comparison of last season?
I ended the season last year like 210. I think I'm around like 218, 220 now. So gained a lot of muscle, especially like in my lower half, my chest, because I had a couple of chest injuries last year. So I'm trying to avoid that this year. But no, it's been good. Feel healthy as ever.
You say it was best summer in terms of mental or whatever. Elaborate on what you mean by that?
Yeah, I think it's good to just take breaks when you need to, not just basketball 24/7. Because I did that early in the summer and then was able to take some breaks in July and then refocus for preseason. I think doing that and kind of learning what I need to do in the off season to come into the season fresh, ready to go physically, mentally, has helped a lot. And I learned a lot this summer just in that area. I think maybe in past summers I've gone about it wrong, or I've just done basketball and just didn't make time for myself. So I think it was important to do that this summer.
Chris, you're a guy, you wear your successes and your failures on your sleeve. Do you feel like stepping away from basketball for a time and kind of focusing on yourself and kind of allowing you to have that time, that's going to be something that's going to be impactful for you going forward?
I think so, yeah. Like I said, it was just kind of figuring out what I need to do in the summer to feel fresh, and I think doing that really helped. Like I went pretty hard. I want to say we ended in April, went hard May, June, July. Had a team camp in Vegas, and then after that took some time off after summer league, and then I feel like I've had a pretty good preseason so far. I think that's due to a lot of just taking a little bit of a break for myself, and I think that's honestly helped a lot, and I feel great going to the season.
What do you think of Hansen?
Great dude, very funny. On the court, offensively he's very talented. Some of the best footwork I've seen out of a big. His passing IQ is really good. You've seen a lot in summer league and what he can do in that aspect. And I think he's grown a lot since then. He's done a really good job just being, just processing everything, being able to learn. I always see him in the gym early. One of those guys who's first one in, last one out, and I think that's huge, especially as a rookie. Just kind of soak in everything you can, especially him just coming from overseas and having to learn English and then basketball. It's a lot. I think he's done a really good job so far.
In light of defense kind of being this team's DNA and identity, can you give us insight into what it's like playing against that defense, pickup and stuff the last 2 weeks? Like, what makes it so difficult?
It's fun. It's kind of one of the things I love about this team is how good everyone is at defense, and it makes those workouts very competitive, obviously, and then you kind of celebrate offense a little bit more. When you get the offense going on great defenders, that's kind of one of the best feelings in basketball. And getting stops and turning that into offense is great too. And we have a lot of great defensive guys who are different defensively and unique. And I think that's going to bring the best out of everyone.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. Well, there wasn't a single question about his shooting. Hopefully he can shoot above 30% this year. Torres is your favorite person so far? Absolutely. Yeah, but a good point is this offense, as they try and implement things, is going to be tested in practice against a pretty good defense. And with the offense, to kind of continue expanding upon what I was talking about before this interview, basically they're implementing more motion principles, and motion principles aren't exact sets, right? Like a specific set, you'll have, specific actions. Guys are going to go in certain spots, and then you make certain reads, where the best way I can explain motion principles is essentially you, based on where the ball is on the floor and where certain players are, you have different options for how you want to move players, where it will be kind of random. This is where they're talking about the randomness of it. You heard earlier today, I forget who said it, but talking about like the randomness of it, where, you know, you have different options to cut, screen off ball, screen on ball, like, and essentially you have a certain set of principles that define what these options are based on where the ball is on the floor. And the whole goal is, okay, if the ball's on the wing and there's somebody in the corner and there's 3 players on the weak side of the floor, they're not all just standing around watching the ball. They have different motion options that get ingrained, and it's not just like one player deciding to do something. It's, you know, a player screening off ball and that player curling, and that player might come up to the top of the arc and swing. Like, it all kind of goes together. It's not just one person deciding one thing. That's going to be, I think, a little bit easier to break down once we have actual footage of what it looks like, but that's what they're talking about with the randomness and you know, getting players moving more in the half court. And I think that's what these assistant coach hires were made for, was to help implement stronger motion principles. And Tease was talking about it, you know, not getting players stuck in the corner where they're just not involved at all. So I think the biggest thing out of this media day is just about how they're definitely going to try and reimagine their offense. If it looks the same as last year, if they're running all the same kind of crappy sets that they ran last year, and the ball's getting stuck the same way they did last year, this coaching staff will be ripe for criticism, because there is absolutely no reason why they can't make some serious progress over the offense that they ran last year. And you can't sit here and make the excuse that, oh, they have no players, they have no guys. Like, what are they supposed to do? Implementing motion principles doesn't take having top 100 players in the league. All right? You can have the worst roster in the league and still implement motion principles. Now, the execution of, let's say, a cutter's open, and if you don't have good enough playmakers, good enough passers, they might not make that pass. Then you can blame the roster for the execution of it, because they weren't able to make the pass, but the play was there. The thing is, the offense has to create these opportunities, create these plays in the first place. This is going to be the key for the Blazers becoming an average offense this year, at least average. If they can become an average offense, I know it doesn't sound super enticing, but if they can become an average offense, they can become a playoff team, because I expect them to be a borderline top 5 defense. And at that point, you're an above average basketball team, which would be great. Great to see. But they're going to have to do it by committee. They don't have SGA that they can just give the ball to, and he's just going to score 30 points per game, get 8 assists, create a bunch of shots for their offense. And then if he doesn't have the ball, you can give it to Jalen Williams. Or you can give it to Chet, and he can even create because he's a mobile 7-footer. It looks like interviews are done, by the way, because it says Livestream offline. So it looks like we're done with media day. But this offense needs to be by committee. Lots of questions about, you know, from our chat about the point guard situation. That's going to have to be by committee. But if, you know, Sharpe can bring the ball up the floor, Deni can bring the ball up the floor, they're going to run some sets. The goal is going to be to have some motion principles when you're not in a set. You can have guys like Deni and Sharpe bring the ball up the floor. You're not relying upon playing a ton of pick and roll with a pure point guard if you have good motion. So this is the number one reason to watch preseason, on top of seeing how Yong looks and on top of seeing the improvements from these young players. The main reason to watch preseason is you should be able to get some insight into some of these offensive changes that they're making. We'll be there with the post-game show to break down what we see from the offense. We're going to focus on that very, very heavily. The basketball should be a lot more fun if they can do this correctly. You're going to see less pounding the air out of the ball. You're going to see less one-on-one. You're going to see hopefully less bad shots. And you're going to see a team that plays like a team on offense, which has been a struggle under Chauncey Billups. Is this all the interviews? We have no Roops. Yeah, I guess no repair. I guess no repair. A little surprised about that. No doo-wop. I guess there was no demand for those guys. I don't know. But yeah, the stream is offline, so if I miss him, I miss him. That's gonna wrap things up. Biggest takeaways: Robert Williams not clear. There's a report that Derek Lively grew 2 inches. I don't know how I feel about that. And then the Jerami thing. The Jerami interview was skipping a bit. I'm going to watch that thing back. Because I saw some people were kind of frustrated with some comments that I think we missed because the Blazers stream was skipping. We'll have a live stream later tonight. We'll go live probably around 9:30 p.m. Pacific time, and that'll be with me and Eric, and we'll break down some of these comments more. We'll talk a little bit more about the offensive goals of the season, and we'll talk about what stood out and what the rotation might look like if you have no Scoot and have no Robert Williams III on opening day. Now, we have three regular off-season timed streams left, and what I mean by that is in the off-season we stream Monday and Thursday evenings at 9:30 p.m. Pacific, around then, 9:30 to 10 p.m. Pacific. So we'll have that through the 6th, okay? So we'll have that today, this upcoming Thursday on the 2nd. We'll talk about, whatever we hear out of training camp, and then we'll have one on Monday, and that Monday I think we'll probably do our preseason prediction stream that we do every year. And then we get into post-game shows. After that, it's post-game show on Wednesday, post-game show on Friday. That's the 8th and the 10th. And then that's when our streams will happen. And then once we're in the regular season, we do post-game shows. So that's the schedule coming up for the channel. Shout out to Rip for becoming a star level member. Thank you, Rip. Welcome to the Uprising. You can become a member. Click the join button below. Gonna try and do some more stuff there this season as well. Just trying to balance it all. But shout out to all of you who are channel members. Thank you, Rip, for becoming one. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. If you turn on the bell button, you can get notified when we go live so you can catch streams. But basically, just after games, show up here. Super simple. And then I'll get you guys more information on the playback watch party stuff once that's ready. But leave a like on the way out of here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the Media Day stream. It was fun to stream this instead of just react to it on Twitter. It's the first time we've streamed it. I think we'll make this a regular thing, assuming that I won't be there asking questions. Because, Shout out to Sleeper. Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the stream. Once again, you can use code UPRISE and get a 100% match up to $100. Do it now, right in time for NBA season. They're going to have lines there. They're going to have parlays that you can pick, season-long parlays for the NBA soon. I assume they had it for NFL, so you definitely want to make sure to check out Sleeper. Use that promo code. Easiest way to support the channel and get a 100% match up to $100. Shout out to them. Going to be doing some fun stuff with them this year. Got a lot planned, so looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your Monday. We will catch you later tonight. Eric will be there. Looking forward to it. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!